It's Wednesday, April 29. Today's shifting habits. Higher gas prices are impacting food costs, and grocery stores and their customers are trying to adapt. Also today, time for the real test. What a city report reveals about the work done to clean up homeless encampments and why some advocates say the current strategy is lacking. Plus, seasonal allergies on the rise. Why this allergy season could be particularly nasty for Canadians across the country. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Wednesday to you. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. Angel McPhail is going to be at Main Street project today. Of course, they had their devastating fire in the winter time. So we're going to get an update on how things are going there and what their plan is moving forward and what you could do to support them, because they always need support any time of year. And of course, it's getting warmer, hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
And with summer comes a whole other set of problems. So we're going to talk about that throughout the morning. But yeah, this morning, waking up, there's snow on my deck again. What is going on?
Hopefully it's getting warmer soon. I wish. Here's the thing. We talked about it yesterday. The weekend looks like it's going to be pretty spectacular. The next couple of days, we knew were going to be cool. The unfortunate thing is seeing those snowflakes flying around this morning. 0 degrees is where we're sitting right now with the north-northeast winds, 17 clicks. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 84%. So here we go, the satellite image, and there's that snow right over Winnipeg, parts of the southeast. It will continue to track off to the east, but the possibility is there of a few more scattered flurries throughout the morning hours and really some heavier clouds hanging around throughout the day. So we're not getting a lot of breaks. I mean, there might be a few breaks in those clouds, pockets of sunshine here or there, but overall cloudy conditions are expected for us today. And in fact, probably for tomorrow too. We might see a little more of a clearer moment into the evening time, but the sun will be setting at about 8:30. Then we're going to have those clouds building up again throughout the day tomorrow. So the next couple of days, cloudy, cool, a little bit breezy as well. We haven't been able to get a break from these winds. I mean, they haven't been intense, but still noticeable, especially when you're factoring in cooler temperatures on top of it all. Now, Thursday evening, more of that precipitation, more so through the northwestern part of the province, but that could track down right down into parts of southwestern Manitoba. I don't know if Winnipeg is going to be seeing that. We might be saved a little bit with our positioning just a little bit further to the east. Now, it does still look like we got much warmer weather waiting for us this weekend, but 16 is now a normal daytime high, and we'll get close to those numbers, but I feel like we're just keep chasing what is normal for this time of year.
Thank you, Terry. If you've put any gas in your vehicle lately, you've felt the higher prices, and you're not alone. Shipping companies are also paying more. Now, as CTV's John Hendricks shows you, those added costs are starting to pop up at the grocery store.
Thanks to the war in Iran, gas prices are much higher. While you may have noticed it first at the pump, now food prices are being affected as suppliers pass on higher costs.
When they add $10, you go at, it's only $10, but you go $10 times X number of suppliers, that's a lot of money per day, per month.
Zeed says in many cases he eats the extra cost to try and keep his prices low.
This, with that one.
But in some cases, he says he's had little choice but to raise prices.
I mean, we're stuck with whatever they give, or we try to find an alternate supplier that's not charging as much.
To deal with rising food prices, people like Jody Johnson are doing more comparison shopping.
I know there are certain stores where I live that are always a little bit more for the same product, canned goods, for example, so I will not shop there.
Sylvain Charlebois from Dalhousie University's Agri-Food Analytics Lab says consumers are adapting to the higher prices. He says some people are changing how often they eat certain proteins.
For example, someone would not eat meat during the week, and on weekends it's fair game. So people are pacing themselves.
And there are other ways to stretch your dollar further.
When the price of something's good, you buy a lot of it, and you put it away, and then you keep that price down.
And Munther Zeed says customers are also using more coupons.
People are going back to old ways of saving money.
An old strategy for a now familiar problem. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
More details are emerging on Manitoba's possible ban on children using social media. Premier Wam Kanu says tech companies that don't comply could face billion-dollar fines.
Facebook, Meta, they're going to spend more money on data centers this year than the entire size of all of Manitoba's economy. So like we can't find them 10 grand, 100 grand, $1 million. Like for a company that's going to spend tens of billions of dollars on chips this year, what is a $100 million fine? It's nothing.
It's the Premier's first comments on the issue since he announced the ban over the weekend. He also emphasized the fines would be directed at big tech platforms, not children or their parents. Details of the plan, including how a province might have jurisdiction over international platforms and when the ban would go into effect, remain unclear. But Canoe added schools and teachers may no longer be able to use AI chatbots and sites such as YouTube.
Teachers will need to get ready, school leaders will need to get ready, and of course we'll work with the tech platforms if they want to modify their products in the future, but for now there's a lot of legwork that needs to happen.
The government says it may roll out the ban's first phase in schools while legislative changes are made. The Liberals' spring economic update includes some relief measures for Canadians while also carrying a big deficit.
There's kind of a fog of uncertainty, which is clouding a lot of parts of the world. And Canada, despite all that, has been able to manage to lower the deficit.
The federal deficit for the last fiscal year sits at $67 billion. That's about $11 billion lower than what was projected in the budget. As for spending, the biggest new line item is a program to recruit and train up to 100,000 skilled trades workers.
Big measures for apprenticeships, making young Canadians as part of this.
The skills training program is projected to cost almost $6 billion. Other measures include a move to slightly lower the amount people have to contribute to the Canadian pension plan, a proposal to extend EI benefits for some seasonal workers, banning cryptocurrency ATMs, and clearing the air travel complaints backlog. The opposition is accusing the Liberals of more reckless spending.
Everyone thought it would be impossible to outspend the reckless Justin Trudeau, but then this new Liberal Prime Minister came along and said, hold my champagne.
The spring economic update does not lay out a path to balance the budget within the next 5 years. First Nations leaders in Manitoba are voicing their opposition to a federal bill recognizing Red River Métis self-governance.
We are not saying no to progress. We are saying that progress must be done in a way that respects First Nations.
Instead, the Assembly of Manitoba Chief says Bill C-21 could infringe on its existing treaty rights and doesn't provide a clear framework to prevent overlap on treaty land and jurisdiction.
The absence of enforceable safeguards, there are no clear, legally binding protections ensuring First Nations treaty and inherent rights will not be impacted.
AMC says Ottawa hasn't properly consulted with First Nations leadership. It's calling on Canada to uphold First Nations sovereignty and treaty relationships and address outstanding legal uncertainties before advancing new governance frameworks. Friday, Manitoba Métis Federation President David Chartrand said the bill does not infringe on anyone else's rights. Second reading of the bill is in progress in the House of Commons. If you're in the market for a new bike, this could be your moment. Hundreds of bicycles are set to hit the auction block. It's all part of the city's annual sale of unclaimed wheels. Around 550 bikes are up for auction this year, and nearly 200 of those got tune-ups. And you don't need a set of wheels to attend. The auction is taking place online. Bidding opens on Thursday and runs until May the 7th. These dogs are total ballers. Adidas has launched a new collection of pet shirts ahead of the FIFA World Cup. The lineup includes home shirts for Mexico, Colombia, Japan, and Argentina. The pet-sized shirts match what the national teams will wear on the field, so they can also bark on their countries this summer. The collection will be available starting on Friday. So cute. Here's a look at what's happening now in traffic at Confusion Corner. It looks like things are starting off pretty smoothly in this part of the city. If you see any issues out there, send us a text at 10400. A country music festival is coming to the city, and we have a contest for you.
Put some miles on it. Back of the Chevy with the engine running.
Country Thunder 2026 will be here in Winnipeg on Friday, July the 3rd. Kane Brown will help kickstart the summer at Princess Auto Stadium. And Your Morning Winnipeg has 4 VIP tickets to give away this week. The global superstar will be joined on stage by Bailey Zimmerman, Co Wetzel, and Robin Ottolini. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvwinnipeg.ca, and don't forget to enter the keyword stadium. Good luck. All right, let's go down to Ainsley McPhail, who's live this morning with Main Street Project. Hi, Ainsley.
Hi, Rochelle. I'm standing in a place that usually I'm sitting. I walked into Main Street Project. Now, first of all, I didn't think that we were going to be at this building yet. In a couple of weeks, the repairs will be done. Of course, back in January, the Manwin Hotel had that fire. Main Street Project, lots of loss when it comes to their food bank, but they will be looking for donations soon, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that on social media. We're also going to be talking about clothing donations too. Linking Hope has graciously donated some. We're going to be talking about the van outreach. We're going to be chatting about their gala coming up. So much with Main Street Project. Lots of ways that you can help and donate, and getting those updates in real time, because I was like, oh, look, we're almost done. Just a couple of weeks out of the woods.
And it looks good so far. Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It's a cool start to this Wednesday.
Yeah, no kidding. And there's still some light snow falling out here, and not a massive amount. I don't want anybody to be like, what is going on? It's spring in Manitoba. That's what's going on. I was talking earlier this week about how April, it wasn't going to finish off on a very nice note with these well below seasonal temperatures, and they're certainly going to continue. And then, you know, you add flurries in the mix, and it's just winter, just letting its presence be known. But May is looking so much better, and that arrives on Friday. So we just have a couple of days to go before we start to see those improvements. It's -1 right now with a north wind 11 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 87%. We've got heavier clouds hanging over us. It's looking pretty gray and gloomy, and then there's the few flakes wafting out here. Thankfully for now, those winds are on the lighter side, but they are likely to increase throughout the day today, and the temperatures won't be increasing anywhere near as much as they should. A normal daytime high would put us at about 16 degrees, and we're likely to end up about 10 degrees shy of that. Just in those mid-single digits, 6 are expected high for today. And yes, the flurries off and on, mostly through the morning hours, should be tapering off later on today. A few more pockets of sunshine waiting for us this afternoon. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful. Our new Hunter Douglas showroom is at 900 Lorimer.
Good morning. On Tuesday, Manitoba honored workers who have been killed or hurt while on the job. Unions, leaders, and other Manitobans walked from Union Centre on Broadway to Memorial Park in recognition of the National Day of Mourning, held yearly on April 28th. More than 1,000 Canadians are killed as a result of workplace injuries and illness every year. In 2025, 14 of those deaths happened here in Manitoba. 6 other deaths in years past were not recognized as work-related until now.
These losses are deeply felt and remind us why the work we do together to promote safety is so important. To all those who are grieving, please accept my heartfelt condolences.
The province is providing $100,000 to the Preston Hein Bigner Memorial Fund, nearly doubling the number of firefighters able to access clinician-led mental health supports. It is named after a Winnipeg firefighter who died in 2024 after a battle with undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder. The Manitoba Federation of Labour is pushing the province to include support for all workers who suffer psychological injuries on the job. The City of Winnipeg says it's cleaned up close to 60 homeless encampments on public property. This comes after a new protocol was put in place in November, banning camping near playgrounds, schools, and bridges. But as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, the real test of the new ban is coming with summer around the corner.
Just months ago, a homeless encampment was set up on the edge of this downtown park on the riverbank.
Basically, there was a lot of interference with the daily use of what should be a park.
Area resident Arthur Shimko says he is glad the camp is gone and the riverbank cleaned up.
Consider the demographic of the people that attend this park is from geriatrics to toddlers and infants.
This camping prohibited sign is posted on the fence around the park's wading pool, warning a violation constitutes trespassing that will be enforced. This is part of a new city protocol banning encampments near public spaces like playgrounds, daycares, schools, and bridges. Now, a 4-month progress report shows action was taken at 20 public properties. This includes dispatching outreach workers, offering housing to those living in the encampments, and installing the no camping signs. Plus, 58 vacant sites were remediated, and there were 199 inspections done by bylaw officers and emergency personnel, including police.
So I think the strategy is definitely working, especially working in tandem with the provincial government and the Your Way Home strategy.
but this could just be a small sample size. Community Services Committee Chair Vivian Santos says the real litmus test for the protocol is coming.
It is spring and summer. We will probably see some of the issues and encampments popping back up.
It's unclear how many people moved from these encampments. Marian Willis with St. Boniface StreetLink says she's in favor of the policy but believes managed encampment sites are needed to support the plan, or it will just push the problem elsewhere.
Will likely force people out into the suburbs. You're going to see people where you've not seen them before setting up encampments, trying to escape bylaw officers and police.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
During last night's state dinner, U.S. President Donald Trump said King Charles agrees with him that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon.
Charles agrees with me even more than I do. We're never going to let that opponent have a nuclear weapon. They know that, and they've known it right now very powerfully.
When it was King Charles's turn to speak, he did not comment on the Iran war. The king does not speak for the UK government. His speech mostly stuck to the theme of promoting ties between the UK and the US. It was a message King Charles delivered earlier in the day during an historic address to Congress.
Ours is an indispensable partnership. We must not disregard everything that has sustained us for the last 80 years. Instead, we must build on it.
King Charles and Queen Camilla will be in New York today on day 3 of their 4-day U.S. visit. They will visit the 9/11 memorial and meet with families and first responders affected by the attacks. A new campaign from Manitoba Possible aims to set a new standard for accessibility with the launch of its Breaking Barriers capital campaign.
Building an accessible, inclusive space is much more than that.
Manitoba Possible is working closely with accessibility consultant Peter Tong, who you just heard from. Construction on the purpose-built space is already underway and will be home to programs which support 75,000 Manitobans with disabilities. Some of those new building features include a wheelchair terrain park, fully accessible kitchen, and community classrooms.
The role of my team was to consult with 3 primary groups with lived experience to gather that information so it could become part of the planning and the building process.
The organization is raising $3.8 million towards the transformation of 1680 Notre Dame Avenue. Manitoba Possible hopes to have the new space completed later this fall. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. Following the rush, the southbound curb lane on Osborne will be closed from Stradbrook to Wardlaw Avenue. On Ellis Avenue, the westbound curb lane will be closed between Sherbrooke and Maryland Street. And the northbound curb lane on Allergy Boulevard will be closed from Betournay Street to Dawson Road. If you see any other issues, please send us a text.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
We're looking now through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. All right, we are dealing with some heavier clouds. We're dealing with a little bit of light snow, and nobody wants to be seeing even the few flakes that are flying around outside right now. But we are waking up to these cool and well below seasonal temperatures, and that bit of precipitation, unfortunately, showing up in frozen form. So -1 is where we are right now. -2, a seasonal, no, pardon me, +2, a seasonal low temperature. Over in Brandon, -2 is where you're sitting right now. All of us seeing pretty similar temperatures. The warmest that we've got on our map right now is the 0 degrees in the Morden, Winkler, Portage, La Prairie areas. Most of us are just a degree or 2 or 4 below the freezing mark, as in the case in Swan River this morning. Up in the northern part, minus double digits to kick off your morning. Nobody is really feeling the warmth of what you would expect this time of year, because even northern Manitoba should be seeing numbers far better than what we're waking up to. Speaking of what we're waking up to, there's the light snow. You can see the kind of darkish gray moving through that southeastern part of the province, including right over us here in Winnipeg. So those are the few flurries that we're seeing flying right now, but they aren't likely to last too much longer. I think eventually later on into the day, we will start to see a few more breaks in those clouds and a little more sunshine, but certainly could see those flakes over the next few hours. And the temperature is really not improving anywhere close to what you would expect, getting up to about 5 degrees by the time kids are coming home from school today, and 6 our high, when 16 is a normal daytime high. So still 10 degrees off the mark of that. Maybe a little bit better tomorrow, maybe a little bit more sunshine. The real warm up will come when we're flipping the calendar over into May. So Friday is May 1st, and that's when we're getting at least close to seasonal. Mid-teens, I mentioned those 16 normal for this time of of year, and it keeps seeming like we're chasing those numbers, but at least staying in those double digits as we look further on into next week. And I mean, calendar or not, it is springtime and the babies are coming out. This little muleful, just hours old. So thank you very much. Oh, and that's Blondie. Blondie is the mom there. Thanks to Ken for the photo. Keep them coming to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca. We'll see you right after this break.
Ontario is looking at putting in place restrictions on cell phones and social media use by minors. And now a new documentary is shedding light on just how much time Canadian teens are spending on their devices. CTV's Pauline Chan has more.
A couple of weeks ago, Caden Orth agreed to participate in a documentary tracking how much time he spent on screens daily.
I would say probably about like 7 hours.
Was that a surprise to you when you actually, did the documentary and you found out how much time you spent?
Yeah, it was a surprise. I didn't think I spent that much time.
I didn't find out until after we finished shooting. And then I saw his screen time, which was, above average. And if I want him above average, it should be school, not screen time.
The 5.2 project is named after the 5.2 hours a day tweens and teens spend on smartphones, with 89% of kids exceeding the 2-hour maximum recommended in Canada.
Children really struggling, whether it was violence in the schools, self-esteem, self-image, online predators, and really feel a lot of this happens at the outset with the parents not really understanding what they're giving their child when they put this technology in their hands.
Children's brains are still developing, and psychologist Dana Sinclair says hours of social media creates excess input and fragmentation of attention.
People have this, too much emotional connection to what other people are doing, what other people are thinking. So all this mind clutter gets in the way. All the comparisons out there, and it prevents people from advancing themselves.
The federal Liberals have talked about banning social media for kids under 16. Manitoba has already pledged to do this, and Australia banned social media for under 16s last December. Margot Deneme is a former Crown attorney who started raising awareness about digital dangers, or RAD, a couple of years ago.
There's a multitude of issues that we address, and we do it together in a non-fear-mongering way, but an educational way to empower parents. So that's why I'm thrilled about this film.
Overwhelmingly, the best advice is to put the phone down at certain times, in class, at meals.
While Caden was always into hockey and other activities before the 5.2 project, he and his family are making a more conscious effort now to spend time on other things. The 5.2 project will be released on May 2nd, 5.2 on the calendar, as part of Rogers' Screen Break initiative. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Manitoba Blue Cross. We could pay your bills with a massive $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is equity. Head to the contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter equity with your info for your chance to win the Your Morning $20,000 Pay Your Bills contest, brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, your local trusted health benefits provider. Good luck.
-1 outside this morning with a little bit of light snow falling. I know, it's not what anyone wants to see this time of year. North winds, they're on the lighter side though, 11 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, humidity sitting at 87%. The snow is very light. I'm really overreacting here. It's a few flakes. They actually didn't melt on contact, though. I was noticing that on my rooftop about 20 minutes ago when I was outside upstairs. They're like little tiny snow pellets, and they just kind of sat there on the deck. Didn't go anywhere. We can hope that They will as the temperatures warm up, but they're not going to be warming up much. We're going to remain well below seasonal. Still for a couple of days, about 10 degrees cooler than what you would expect this time of year, in fact. As far as overnight temperatures go, though, we're not 10 degrees cooler than that. 2 degrees would be a normal low temperature, and we're coming in a few off the mark of that at -1. There's that light snow showing up on the satellite image right now. We might see that off and on through the course of the morning into the afternoon, hoping to see a few more breaks in those clouds. It will be on the cloudier side, but some pockets of sunshine here or there, and 6 degrees. Yeah, 16 is normal for this time of year, and those winds will likely get a little bit stronger, at times gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. Those winds tapering off overnight as we fall back to where we are now, -1 for those early morning hours. Still with the partly cloudy conditions. It might clear somewhat overnight, but then those clouds probably building up again tomorrow. So again, pockets of sunshine here or there, but not expecting too much in the way of that sunshine or with those temperatures either. 8 degrees or high. It will improve by Friday, both with the conditions, more sunshine, a little more heat, and from there it's feeling a lot better as we're looking ahead through the weekend.
A whirlwind of conflicting messages swirled Tuesday over critical staff shortages in the Northern Health Region. A state of emergency was declared over critical staffing shortages at 2 northern Manitoba hospitals. But then on Tuesday evening, Manitoba's Health Minister Uzuma Azaguera told reporters the emergency was called off. In a social media post Tuesday morning, the Manitoba Nurses Union said the emergency affected Thompson General Hospital and the Paul Hospital. Several units, including the emergency department, obstetrics, specialized care units, and even operating rooms were affected. But Health Minister Uzuma Azaguera told media the Northern Health Region acted prematurely without investigating all possible solutions for the shortage. Katrina Koop is a former nurse who worked at Thompson General Hospital. She frequently posts on social media about ongoing shortages, which she says affect everyone in the region. And for her, communication is key.
There's so many things to tackle, but listening would be super important and having that communication. And I have, like I said, I have taken the right avenues to speak to people in power, and nothing gets settled. So I just decided to use my own voice.
MNU President Darlene Jackson said the back and forth Tuesday shows very little communication happening between the region and the minister. She said the union's labor relations staff may meet with the health region as early as today to look at all options. CTV News reached out to the Northern Health Region for comment, but we have not heard back. Canada is now considering a ban on smoking for young people.
I'm looking into it right now. We saw what UK did, but I'm looking into it with all partners for now.
The federal health minister says she is looking into legislation that would permanently ban the sale of tobacco products to anyone born after 2008. It's similar to what the UK is doing. Last week, both houses of the UK Parliament passed the Tobacco and Vapes Bill, aimed at stopping anyone born after January 1st, 2009 from taking up smoking. Canada has set a goal to reduce tobacco use to less than 5% by 2035. The 2024 Canadian Community Health Survey estimates 11% of Canadians aged 18 years and older are still smoking. As for vaping, data from Statistics Canada suggests 1 in every 10 Canadians between the ages of 20 and 24 uses a vape every day. The Bank of Canada is widely expected to keep its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 2.25% when it announces its latest decision later this morning. The central bank is also set to release its latest economic forecast in its quarterly monetary policy report. The bank has been grappling with a confluence of factors that have clouded the outlook for inflation and the economy. Heading into the year, many economists have predicted inflation would ease and a softer economy would keep the Bank of Canada on the sidelines while it waited for clarity on the U.S. trade front. But the outbreak of war in the Middle East in late February has led to a surge in oil prices and upended inflation forecasts. Are your eyes getting itchy, or are you dealing with a non-stop runny nose? If so, you could be one of the nearly 10 million Canadians with seasonal allergies. And as CTV's Daniel Homerson shows you, this allergy season could be particularly nasty.
Most people visiting Assiniboine Park are looking forward to warmer temperatures and greener trees, but there's one change in the season some would like to avoid altogether.
I get just like mild hay fever from like dust and pollen, so like stuffy nose, watery eyes, that kind of thing.
Runny eyes, runny nose, then I end up with a little cough, and it's not fun. No, I don't like it.
Runny nose, my eyes start to water. As soon as I touch my eyes, then I have to rub them forever, and it just never goes away.
Seasonal allergies triggered by tree pollen are about to flare up, and hay fever could hit Winnipeg hard and fast this year.
One big punch that's going to keep happening over and over again for about a month.
Coates' company analyzes air samples from across the country, and he says a long cold spring delayed early pollinators like maple and elm trees, and now he says those trees are pollinating at the same time as later season species like birch and oak.
And those are all going to be in the air at the same time over the next few weeks in Winnipeg, making it quite potentially a very miserable start to the allergy season for allergy sufferers.
Dr. Nestor Cisneros, a Winnipeg pediatric allergist, says taking a 24-hour antihistamine typically helps treat mild symptoms.
And that seems to work quite well for patients. However, some patients, particularly those patients who have itchiness of the eyes, sometimes that may not be enough.
He also recommends booking an appointment with an allergist to get tested, and warns these types of allergies can increase the risk of asthma, especially in younger people.
It's a very critical time to treat those patients appropriately, knowing what their allergies are.
Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Here's what's happening now on Portage Avenue. It looks like things are starting off pretty smoothly this morning. If you see any issue out on the streets, please send us a text when it is safe and legal to do so. Here's a look now at your gas prices. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.64, a small drop from yesterday's amount. And the lowest price in the city is $1.44, found at Superstore and Shell on McPhillip Street. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
This morning we are live at Main Street Project. You're looking at what the new building will look like after the devastating fire this past winter. It's on the way to being open for good. We're going to be right back after this.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Okay, earlier I was saying that the snow wasn't melting on my rooftop. I mistook that. It's the little tiny rocks. I should have put my glasses on. Hello, I am wearing my glasses. Clearly in need of a new prescription. Anyway, it was just like the little tiny pebbles. The snow itself does seem to be melting. You know where it's not melting is on the mats in the patio. They're just maybe capturing those little snowflakes. So they are sticking to that and making a little bit of making themselves noticeable, if you will, the little light and scattered flurries, which, by the way, are still falling out here. Temperature-wise, it's a little bit cool. We're going to remain below seasonal. We're at -1 right now. The winds are light. They're 11 clicks out of the north, but they might get a lot stronger later on today. Not a nasty wind, but enough of a breeze that you're going to notice, especially with these cooler temperatures sticking around. We're topping out at about 6 degrees today, when 16 is normal for this time of year. So, yes, a cool, somewhat wintry-looking day. Let's head on over now to Ainsley McPhail, see where she is and what's going on. Hey, Ainsley.
Hi, Terry. Good morning. We're going to brighten up everybody's spirits. We're at Main Street Project talking about some of the upgrades done to the food bank area. Of course, we know back in January there was a fire and lots of damage here. So Kyla Walton joins us to give us a bit of an update. It looks different.
Yeah, we've been closed since January and we've been doing renovations since then. The fire really impacted our food bank. We've been closed since January, and the people that we've served haven't had access to the food here. So yeah, we want to get it up and running as soon as possible and yeah, have people fill their bellies again.
That's so tough. Where we're at right now is kind of where the sandwiches are made. Tell us, paint a picture for it's going to be once again, and just how much volume you guys see.
So yeah, the spot that we're in right now, we make 400 sandwiches per day for our outreach van, and then we also make more sandwiches for the other programs that we have, our shelter. And yeah, sometimes a sandwich is someone's first meal, so it's really, really important that the space gets up and running again.
And certainly the biggest downtown food bank, you guys are looking for donations. People should keep their eyes peeled for how they can do so.
Yeah, so right now is a really good time to get your community together, get your schools together, start doing a donation drive or a food drive, and start collecting non-perishable items, and yeah, have fun with it, and come here in about 2 weeks, and we can fill our food bank again.
Okay, it'll be here sooner than ever. Before we're out of time, is there anything else that you want people to know?
Yeah, come see our food bank once we're open. It's a really great place. It's a place where people volunteer. It's a place where community comes together, and we help bring dignity back to people's lives in our food banks. So it's really important that we're full and people have choice.
Thank you so much. Well, Winnipeg is going to answer the call.
Here's a look at the early markets. The Dow Jones had small gains. The Nasdaq added 93 points. The S&P index is near to flat. The Canadian dollar is set to 73.6 cents U.S. Overseas, the Hang Seng is 432 points up. The Nikkei fell 619 points. Good morning. It is 6:46. Firefighters in Winnipeg were kept busy with a pair of early morning apartment fires. The first was reported shortly after 5 a.m. Tuesday at a 3-story building in the 300 block of Quappel Avenue. That's near Central Park in the city's core. Some residents evacuated on their own while others were rushed outside by firefighters. The fire was declared under control about an hour later. And less than an hour after that, crews were called to a different fire at a high-rise apartment building on Power Street in the North End. The fire was contained to a single suite. No injuries were reported in either case, and both are still under investigation. A Winnipeg teenager accused of intentionally running over and killing Canadian geese is facing a number of charges. Police linked 3 separate incidents in which 5 geese were either killed or injured to the same suspect. All took place in parking lots on the southwest side of the city within the span of about a half-hour Saturday night, one of which was here on Henlope Bay. A 17-year-old boy was arrested Monday. He's facing 5 charges of killing or injuring animals. Manitoba Conservation was also alerted, as Canada geese are a protected species. The government is once again looking to make it legal to search and seize small pieces of mail. The proposed legislative change was included in the spring economic update. The Liberals are looking to amend the Canada Post Corporation Act to allow law enforcement to lawfully search and seize mail if authorized under an act of Parliament. It won't allow for warrantless searches, but will make it possible for law enforcement to get warrants for all forms of mail. Currently, officers are only allowed warrants for packages and for mail weighing more than 500 grams. It's a move the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police has called for in the past. The suspect accused in the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting has now been charged with 3 federal offenses, including attempting to assassinate the president, a charge that carries a potential life sentence. 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen made his first court appearance on Monday in Washington. In addition to being charged with attempting to assassinate President Trump, Allen is also charged with transporting a firearm across state lines and unlawful discharge of a firearm during violence. Allen did not respond to the allegations during his brief appearance. OPEC is about to lose one of its biggest and most influential members. The United Arab Emirates announced it will leave OPEC and OPEC Plus, which includes Russia. The move takes effect on Friday. OPEC is a group of oil-producing countries which influences prices by controlling supply and production. Experts say when the Strait of Hormuz reopens, there will be a race to replenish reserves. With OPEC weakened, markets could become more volatile. A group of fast-acting students from Mississippi stopped their school bus from crashing after the driver passed out of the wheel while on a highway. 40 kids were on board when an asthma attack struck the driver. As you can see in this video, the mostly 6th graders sprang into action, taking control of the wheel and reaching for the brake, bringing the runway bus to a stop.
It was just adrenaline pumping. I saw that the bus was veering off to the side, then I grabbed the wheel.
And then, so she passed out again, and then the bus started rolling forward.
The students noticed the driver was holding medication in her hand. They helped administer that medication and called 911. The driver has recovered and no students were hurt. If you're in the market for a new bike, this could be your moment. Hundreds of bicycles are set to hit the auction block. It's all part of the city's annual sale of unclaimed wheels. Around 550 bikes are up for auction this year, and nearly 200 of those got tune-ups. And you don't need a set of wheels to attend. The auction is taking place online. Bidding opens on Thursday and runs until May the 7th. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. Following the rush, the southbound curb lane on Osborne will be closed from Stradbrook to Wardlaw Avenue. On Ellis Avenue, the westbound curb lane will be closed between Sherbrooke and Maryland Street. And the northbound curb lane on Lejeune-Maudière Boulevard will be closed from Batorny Street to Dawson Road. If you have any other traffic tips, please send us a text.
All right, we're waking up to -1. Yes, that's below seasonal. Yes, it's even snowing lightly outside this morning. But the winds are light. They're out of the north, just 11 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 87%. So with those light winds, throw on the extra layers. It's not frigid out there. It's just a little bit cooler. Only a few degrees cooler this morning than what you would expect this time of year. But the lack of gains that we're going to make today will keep us about 10 degrees off the mark of seasonal once we're reaching those expected highs. For northern Manitoba, you're also dealing with some heavier clouds right across the province and maybe some scattered snow. Now, farthest into the northeast, Churchill, you might luck in with a little bit of sunshine and will likely remain just below the freezing mark, but -1 is a normal high in the Churchill area this time of year. Contrast that with the 10 degrees that's a normal high over in Thompson, and you can see, yes, it is going to be considerably cooler than that for most places. With the heavier clouds or some fog, those are the lines that we're showing you up in the Lynn Lake area. Again, double digits would be normal for northern Manitoba. You're not going to be seeing those kind of numbers. We should be up in the mid-teens now for this time of year, around 16 degrees, a seasonal high throughout much of southern Manitoba, and most of us in those mid to high single digits. With the heavier clouds, we've been seeing some light and scattered flurries in areas through this southeastern corner still may. Other places might enjoy a little bit more in the way of sunshine. Nobody is going to be experiencing those seasonal temperatures. And it's not just today. We've got another cool one for tomorrow as well. Before finally on Friday, we're seeing temperatures on the warm-up at least, not quite getting to the 16 degrees, but perhaps we will for the weekend. We will then at least enjoy those double digits. Not quite seasonal, but double digits continuing into next week.
Thank you, Terry. Let's check in now on Bo and Gabby at Bounce 99.9. Good morning. Welcome back, Bo.
Oh, thanks, Rochelle. You know, I've got all these brand new summer shirts I want to wear, but the weather's not cooperating, so I'm in black. That's all you got.
I said just bring those guns out, Bo. Come on, bare the arms.
Soon enough. So let's kiss another day good morning. And I say kiss because yesterday we got to talking about this. It was Kiss Your Mate Day, which is all well and fine. We all do that. But what about kissing other people? And my friend Gabby here, she's very generous when it comes to hugging, but not so much with kissing other people.
I don't kiss other people. It's awkward. Probably because I'm so tall that I'm already leaning in for a hug they maybe don't want. And if I go in for a kiss, it's like I'll be kissing everybody on the forehead, like, bless you, bless you, bless you. So it just doesn't make sense. But Bo kisses everybody.
Well, family, you know, being European, it's like a greeting, you know, your family, your longtime friends. You don't think anything of it, but
even on the lips sometimes.
Oh, really? Stop it right there. Okay. What about you, Rochelle?
Well,
when it comes
I don't know if you know this, but I'm a francophone. So being a francophone, the French people, what they do is they do the double kiss on the cheeks, right? The double cheek kiss. So that is still holding true in my family, and so it's like you take their hand and you kiss their cheeks. And it's been like that since I was a kid. So you just got to keep that tradition alive, of course. And then, I don't know, little baby feet sometimes. You just kind of want to like nibble on them. Yeah, it's weird.
I think I would give Alex feet up for kissing, for sure. That's okay. You can kiss Alex feet anytime. They're so cute.
I have, actually.
Bisou, bisou. Is that what you have totally. Bisou, bisou. Is that what you say when you kiss? The elegant French way, go bisou, bisou.
Or you could do it the Manitoba French and say un petit bec, a little beak.
Oh.
Yeah.
How are you with air kissing? Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. No, you know what? I do kiss my dog as well, and he doesn't mind at all. So, yeah. But anyway, so that's how got us to talking about kissing. So have a wonderful morning. And like the first song I played in radio, "Kiss an Angel Good Morning" by Charlie Pride. There you go.
All right, guys. Have a good day. A miniature movie theater off in Vancouver ended up playing a big role in a local love story. It's about two people who met online during the pandemic and created a real relationship they've committed to for life. CTV's Adam Sawatsky explains.
After she first peered through the tiny windows on that wall during a date,
I love it!
And discovered a miniature movie theater inside,
It's so good!
Nikki and her partner Megan would regularly stop to watch the short film screened here.
So random and strange and wonderful and whimsical.
The couple first connected online during the pandemic, and for the first 2 months, only texted.
And she was interesting and intriguing enough to keep up texting, and I'm not a good texter.
And by the time they finally met each other in person, it just felt right.
When you meet someone and you know, things naturally evolve.
Along with embarking on all sorts of adventures, from hot places to cold places, Megan started doodling quirky characters to document all the wonderful memories they made, from the big to the small.
It was like a slow, steady climb.
And you eventually fall in love.
We fell in love, yeah.
And talked about getting married before Megan started planning to propose.
I had to be really sneaky, which is hard for me.
Which brings us to that night they drove past the little free cinema.
I was so nervous. I was like sweaty nervous.
Nikki, on the other hand, was simply curious about why it was all lit up and framed with flowers, and asked to stop.
I went to go watch it, walked up to the path through the candles, pressed play, started watching it, and
although Megan had never animated anything before, Nikki saw that she'd transformed all her quirky drawings into a stop-motion celebration of their love story that ended with a proposal.
I turned around shocked, and she was standing there with a little bouquet of flowers, and it was just fabulous.
Nikki said yes, and Megan couldn't have been more grateful to see her now fiancé's heartfelt reaction.
This is so good.
It was like, oh, thank God. Like relief, but also like, yes, absolutely.
Because although their relationship began on a small screen and this proposal was produced for a wee one, Nikki and Megan have no doubt their love story will keep growing until it can't be contained by the biggest screens of all. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Vancouver.
All right, here's a look outside now on the Prodigy Bridge. It looks like things are doing well in this part of the city. If you see any issues out in traffic, please give us a heads up. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. It's Wednesday, April 29th. Today, food prices rising, how higher gas costs tied to global conflict are driving up grocery bills and changing how families shop and save. Plus, First Nations push back. Manitoba chiefs oppose Métis governance bill, citing treaty concerns and lack of consultation. And draft night dream, from local fields to first overall. A Winnipeg star scores a headline moment. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba, at 7 o'clock on your Wednesday. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. Now, yesterday we got an update from the federal government on our spring fiscal update. And so we're going to find out a little bit more on what that means to you. We're going to have finance journalist joining us at about 7:52 to break down the numbers and what they actually mean to the regular person at home, and also what the shape of our country looks like right now in the midst of this tariff war. But it doesn't look good outside right now.
It doesn't look good outside. You're right about that. But it's not the worst thing ever, especially because we are going to get a nice bit of a warm up in a couple of days' time. We knew we had to get through April. We've been talking about this since the beginning of the week. The last few days of April really weren't looking spectacular, but the warm up to come along with May, that's going to be worth all of this. So what is all of this? Well, it's -1 with a little bit of light snow falling and just a bit of a breeze. A north-northwest wind is moving 15 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 88%. We do have mainly cloudy conditions. There's been a little bit of light snow. I think it's starting to taper off now. It's just been a few flakes here or there, but still, I know it's not what you want to see when you're waking up this late into the season. But like I said, as soon as we flip that calendar, hopefully all of this will be a distant memory. We do have the heavier clouds hanging around around through most of the province, and it will be cool through most of the province as well. Everybody expecting these below seasonal temperatures. Churchill might be on the sunnier side. You can see a little bit clearer up in the far northeast, and eventually, but into the evening time, clearing out of the northwest as well. And we might even start to see some breaks in those clouds, especially later on into the afternoon. We might also notice, though, those winds increasing. So it's kind of like we get a little more sunshine, but we get a stronger wind along with it. At least the snow should be tapering off, though. That'll be some good news. Tomorrow, still some heavier clouds, but pockets of sunshine here or there. The precipitation for tomorrow will be more through central Manitoba, moving down into the southwest. I think on the eastern side will remain fairly dry. And then, like I said, that great big warm-up, which, I mean, it's not a great big warm-up. It's not even quite to seasonal for Friday. 16 degrees is normal now for this time of year. And we keep missing the mark just a little bit better for the weekend, and still with those double digits continuing into the start of next week. Our art today is a big thank you to 4-year-old Pierce. So please keep sharing your art with us. Kind of looks like a big snowflake there, fitting for today. Send your art to us now through our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and when you send it through the website, you're entered to win that $100 gift card from Crockadoodle on Kenniston.
The weather art of the day is brought to you by Crockadoodle. Spend quality time with loved ones and paint memories together.
The Winnipeg Police Service is asking for your help in locating 2 people who were last seen together about a week ago. 20-year-old Asia LaForest and 27-year-old Baron Morissette were last seen at around 5:30 p.m. on April 23rd in Winnipeg's Duffer neighborhood. LaForest is female and is described as 5 feet 5 inches tall with a medium build, light brown hair and hazel eyes. LaForest was last seen wearing a baby blue pullover hoodie. Morissette is male, 5 feet 10 inches tall, with a thin build, short black hair and brown eyes. Morissette was last seen wearing beige sweatpants. The Winnipeg Police Service is concerned for LaForest and Morissette's well-being and is asking anyone with any information regarding their whereabouts to contact the Winnipeg Police Service Missing Persons Unit at 204-986-6250. If you put any gas in your vehicle lately, you felt the higher prices, and you're not alone. Shipping companies are also paying more. Now, as CTV's John Hendricks shows you, those added costs are starting to pop up at the grocery store.
Thanks to the war in Iran, gas prices are much higher. While you may have noticed it first at the pump, now food prices are being affected as suppliers pass on higher costs.
When they add $10, you go at, it's only $10, but you go $10 times X number of suppliers, that's a lot of money per day, per month.
Zeed says in many cases he eats the extra cost to try and keep his prices low.
This, with that one.
But in some cases, he says he's had little choice but to raise prices.
I mean, we're stuck with whatever they give, or we try to find an alternate supplier that's not charging as much.
To deal with rising food prices, people like Jody Johnson are doing more comparison shopping.
I know there are certain stores where I live that are always a little bit more for the same product, canned goods, for example, so I will not shop there.
Sylvain Charlebois from Dalhousie University's Agri-Food Analytics Lab says consumers are adapting to the higher prices. He says some people are changing how often they eat certain proteins.
For example, someone would not eat meat during the week, and on weekends it's fair game. So people are pacing themselves.
And there are other ways to stretch your dollar further.
When the price of something's good, you buy a lot of it, and you put it away, and then you keep that price down.
And Munther Zeed says customers are also using more coupons.
People are going back to old ways of saving money.
An old strategy for a now familiar problem. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
More details are emerging on Manitoba's possible ban on children using social media. Premier Wab Kinew says tech companies that don't comply could face billion-dollar fines.
Facebook, Meta, they're going to spend more money on data centers this year than the entire size of all of Manitoba's economy. So, like, we can't fine them 10 grand, 100 grand, $1 million. Like, for a company that's going to spend tens of billions of dollars on chips this year, what is a $100 million fine? It's nothing.
It's the Premier's first comments on the issue since he announced the ban over the weekend. He also emphasized the fines would be directed at big tech platforms, not children or their parents. Details of the plan, including how a province might have jurisdiction over international platforms and when the ban would go into effect, remain unclear. But Canoe added schools and teachers may no longer be able to use AI chatbots and sites such as YouTube.
Teachers will need to get ready, school leaders will need to get ready, and of course we'll work with the tech platforms if they want to modify their products in the future, but for now there's a lot of legwork that needs to happen.
The government says it may roll out the ban's first phase in schools while legislative changes are made. Fans of the Canadian Football League got a chance to celebrate a special hometown moment Tuesday evening for those on hand to watch the league's draft.
We got 250 Red Blacks right here, look.
You're looking at Giordano Vaccaro, the first overall draft pick in the CFL draft, and a celebration from hundreds of friends and family at the Centro Caboto Center following the moment Vaccaro was picked by the Ottawa Red Blacks. Vaccaro, the 6'2", 307-pound Purdue offensive lineman from Winnipeg, got his start playing football at St. Paul's High School. Vaccaro was all smiles, reflecting on the big moment.
As an 18-year-old and playing left tackle, I wouldn't believe I was here right now for sure. A lot of thanks goes out to everyone who's been part of my journey, coaches, Coach Dovey, Coach Daynard, Recruit Ready, so I'm really grateful.
Vaccaro spent his first 3 collegiate campaigns here at the U of M, joining the Bison starting lineup as an 18-year-old freshman before transferring to Purdue. The Canadian Football League preseason begins Monday, May 18th. In other draft news, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers selected 9 players, 4 offensive players, 4 defensive, and a kicker. Here's a look at the current traffic situation now. Along Main and Broadway, we have no issues or stalls or crashes to tell you about in this part of the city. If you see anything out there, please give us a heads up.
The federal government is looking to ban cryptocurrency ATMs, citing their role in fraud and money laundering in the country's spring economic update released on Tuesday. The government said that it is proposing to ban crypto ATMs, describing them as a primary method for scammers to defraud victims and for criminals to place their cash proceeds of crime. Despite the proposed ban, Canadians can still buy crypto assets from legitimate brick-and-mortar money services businesses. Ryanair's chief executive Michael O'Leary has warned that several European airlines could face significant financial difficulties and potential failures if jet fuel prices remain high throughout the summer season due to the Strait of Hormuz shutdown. Now, despite the volatile market, O'Leary affirmed that Ryanair is the best insulated, most hedged airline in Europe and committed to not imposing price increases or fuel surcharges for its customers. China has suspended issuing new licenses for autonomous vehicles, according to people familiar with the matter, after dozens of Baidu's Apollo Go robo-taxis suddenly stopped in Wuhan last month, stranding passengers and disrupting traffic. The suspension of new licenses prevents self-driving companies from adding new robo-taxis to their fleets, starting a new test project, or expanding to a new city. It's not clear how long the suspension will last. Those are your morning business headlines. For BNN Bloomberg, I'm Roger Peterson.
Let's go back now to Main Street Project with our Ainsley McPhail. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. Back in January, it was a total gut punch for the community to hear that Main Street Project's food bank had a total loss due to the fire next door at the Manwin Hotel. Now, in 2 weeks' time, this food bank will be back in running, and they're going to need the help from the community. So whether it's your soccer team or it's your workplace, get a food drive together and help them out. Coming up at 7:27, we're going to be learning about the clothing drive too, because you guessed it, well, clothing drive maybe that you can at home host, but you guessed it, there was a lot of loss to that as well. So whether it's Van Outreach, the biggest food bank in downtown Winnipeg, or just helping people regardless find resources like housing, May 1st, we're going to tell you about a pretty big project in the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Maybe it's time to do some spring cleaning and get some of that old clothes and bags and help support Main Street Project.
Good idea. It'll keep you busy on cooler days like today and maybe manifest some of that warmer weather that we're all waiting to experience, although I don't think we have to wait too much longer than the weekend. We do have to wait beyond today, as I'm still watching a few scattered snowflakes falling in my midst. -1. That's what we're waking up to this morning. That's not far off of seasonal. I mean, +2 would be a normal low temperature, so we are a few cooler than you might expect for the morning temps. Whew. I think that was ash. Actually, either that or it was a giant snowflake. Anyway, I don't know why I suddenly thought it was ash, like there's a volcano erupting or something. Silly. Anyway, never mind that. We got some heavier clouds hanging around out here this morning. A few scattered snowflakes here or there, and the cooler temperatures, yes, those are going to be felt across the entire province. Bit of a breeze will be increasing into the afternoon, but this snow should taper off, and maybe even some pockets of sunshine for later on today. So we can keep our fingers crossed that we'll see a little more of that sunshine, but we're not going to be feeling more of that heat until the end of the week. On Friday, that'll be May. We're flipping the calendar into warmer weather. Double digits, mid-teens in fact, as we're looking ahead to the weekend, but still some single-digit temperatures to play out the rest of this month.
Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
It's time now for our question of the day. Today is International Dance Day. So we want to know, when was the last time you danced? Was it a wedding, a dance club, or even at home? Share it with us, please. You can text your answer to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. And don't forget to include your name, please.
Question of the day, brought to you by Provivo, Manitoba's #1 cool sculpting clinic, science-backed body contouring.
At Your Morning Winnipeg, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing. We want to see more, whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals. Send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca, and then catch us every Thursday to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on Your Morning Winnipeg. Wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Manitoba Blue Cross. We could pay your bills with a massive $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. Today's code word is equity. Head to the contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter equity with your info for your chance to win the Your Morning $20,000 Pay Your Bills contest. Brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, your local trusted health benefits provider. Good luck. Two men are recovering and a third is dead after an incident in the North End early Tuesday. Officers were sent to the 200 block of Stella Walk Avenue around 3:20 a.m. for a report multiple people had been assaulted. A 23-year-old and 27-year-old were found outside and taken to hospital in unstable condition. They were later upgraded to stable. A third man was found inside a nearby suite. He was brought to hospital in critical condition but later died. Police have identified him as 49-year-old Robson Isaac Sinclair, a member of Fisher River Cree Nation who had been living in Winnipeg. The 23-year-old man who was brought to hospital is now charged with aggravated assault and manslaughter and remains in custody. Anyone with information is asked to contact the police or Crime Stoppers. First Nations leaders in Manitoba are voicing their opposition to a federal bill recognizing Red River Métis self-governance.
We are not saying no to progress. We are saying that progress must be done in a way that respects First Nations.
Instead, the Assembly of Manitoba chief says Bill C-21 could infringe on its existing treaty rights and doesn't provide a clear framework to prevent overlap on treaty land and jurisdiction.
The absence of enforceable safeguards, there are no clear, legally binding protections ensuring First Nations treaty and inherent rights will not be impacted.
AMC says Ottawa hasn't properly consulted with First Nations leadership. It's calling on Canada to uphold First Nations sovereignty and treaty relationships and address outstanding legal uncertainties before advancing new governance frameworks. Friday, Manitoba Métis Federation President David Chartrand said the bill does not infringe on anyone else's rights. Second reading of the bill is in progress in the House of Commons. These dogs are total ballers. Adidas has launched a new collection of pet shirts ahead of the FIFA World Cup. The lineup includes home shirts for Mexico, Colombia, Japan, and Argentina. The pet-sized shirts match what the national teams will wear on the field, so they can also bark on their countries this summer. The collection will be available starting Friday. Here's what's happening in traffic now along McPhillip Street. Things look good here. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. In entertainment, you don't have to be a photographer to appreciate the dozens of works on display in Osborne Village this weekend. The annual 12 by 12 exhibit, an offshoot of the Flash Photographic Festival, returns to the Gas Station Arts Centre Saturday. The pieces are submitted by more than 70 members who range from emerging and amateur to professional. Their submissions are then organized by theme, for example, architecture, animal, or landscape. The exhibit runs until June 28th, and best of all, it's free. The opening reception is taking place Saturday between 4 and 6. A rock legend is bringing his hits to town, but he's leaving his iconic band behind. Gene Simmons will ditch the makeup and costume as his band makes a stop at Centennial Concert Hall on December 9th. Simmons is promising to perform all the classic hits with a mix of rock covers and Kiss tunes. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 11 a.m. through the Concert Hall website. The King of Pop's catalog is getting a boost thanks to the weekend box office topping biopic. According to industry data and analytics company Luminate, streams of Michael Jackson's songs jumped 95% in the U.S. over the weekend. There were 31.7 million streams last Friday and Saturday, compared to 16.3 the weekend before. Jackson also had 8 songs on Apple Music's daily Top 100 global chart, with Billie Jean at number 11. The Jackson 5 also received a big jump in streams, with 2.4 million streams Friday and Saturday, 1 million more than the weekend before. Your primetime lineup today starts with auditions day 3 in MasterChef at 7. The Floor comes next at 8, and Shark Tank wraps up at 9 o'clock. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Just over here moonwalking
I know,
in my
we
box.
can hear you squeaking all over the place.
It's the floor. My moonwalk is smooth. The floor is squeaky.
It was, yes. Good job. All right, let's stick to weather. You're good at it. You're good at weather too. I'm just saying.
Why, thank you, Michelle. I feel that so genuinely. Here's a look outside through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. Honestly, I'm just trying to create a little bit of a distraction from what we're waking up to this morning. Not ideal. Flurries falling. They're light. They're scattered. They're not sticking. They're not amounting to too much. But it's just not what we want to see as we're wrapping up the last few days of April. But I am pretty sure that we're going to get some pretty pleasant improvements as we're rolling on into May. But still, a couple of days of April left, and it's going to come with these below seasonal temperatures. -1 is where we're sitting right now. Here in Winnipeg and Brandon and Dauphin and Gimli, 0 degrees for the Morden Winkler Portage area. That's the warmest that we're seeing on the maps right now. Up in the Pas, also 0 degrees. The numbers are pretty similar throughout most of the province. It's not until you're right along that most northern border where it's a little bit cooler yet. Also a little bit clearer, but clear equals some minus double digits across the far north this morning. Now, heavier clouds for most places, save the clearer conditions in the far north. The flurries, though, they're really just over the southeastern part of the province and likely only to last through the morning hours, maybe through midday, but then into the afternoon, increasing amounts of sunshine. Not a lot, pockets of sunshine. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up that it's going to be a bright and sunny day by any means, or a warm day. 5 degrees by the time kids are coming home from school, with 6 our expected high today. 16 degrees, that would be a normal high, so we're going to remain about 10 degrees below seasonal today, and tomorrow too still well off the mark of normal. Now Friday, that's May, and we're at least looking to be warmer, not quite the seasonal 16 degrees, but mid-teens on the way. And sunshine and new babies for spring. This makes us hopeful of the season. This is Blondie and her new foal mule. Thank you very much to Ken for the photo. Keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
April 29th, 1867. Queen Victoria gave royal assent to the British North America Act. Canada became the first dominion of the British Empire the following July 1st. In 1947, the British government amended the Act to allow Canada to draft its own constitution, but it was not patriated until 1982. April 29th, 1992. Los Angeles saw the start of deadly rioting that claimed 55 lives and caused $1 billion in damage. The riots came after a jury acquitted 4 white Los Angeles police officers of almost all state charges in the videotaped beating of black motorist Rodney King. 2 officers were later convicted and jailed on federal civil rights charges. April 29th, 2011. Kate Middleton married Prince William at Westminster Abbey in a union that was expected to revitalize the British monarchy. The couple was bestowed the titles of Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Some 2 billion people around the world tuned in to watch via TV or social networks. An Indigenous designer from northern Manitoba is set to make her debut on the world stage. CTV's Alex Karpa on how she managed to turn painful memories into powerful inspiration.
This was the grandmother moon.
Indigenous designer Tammy Wolf is preparing for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
All of my pieces are inspired by something.
Originally from Norway House Cree Nation in northern Manitoba, Wolf has showcased her designs across Canada. This June, she'll take her work to the international stage at Tokyo Fashion Week.
There's a lot of planning, and there's a lot of different things that are going into, you know, making this dream come true, right? So, but yes, very exciting.
Wolf's journey, however, hasn't been easy. Her mom, Holly Wolf Sinclair, was murdered when she was just 37.
I made this to honor and remember my mom.
This red dress is one of the pieces she'll showcase, created using memories of her mother as inspiration.
My work predominantly looks at the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirit people. And so I've been quite inspired by that.
Advocates say sharing Indigenous art on a global stage is extremely important.
To be given an opportunity to travel on an international stage and bring these really crucial topics and initiatives to light on the international stage can't be understated.
For Wolf, her art ensures her mother is never forgotten, a powerful way to preserve her legacy.
You know, her story needs to be told. She needs to be remembered, and because there's no justice for her and her murder, I think that's what continues to inspire me to do this work.
Alex Karpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Coming up, we're going to get an update from Main Street Project. We'll see you after this. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail. Main Street Project is also always looking for donations, right? And they also need clothing donations. Hi, Ainsley.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, we showed you the food bank earlier. We're giving you an update on the clothing space after the fire next door. There were some recoveries, which is really good news to hear. Kyla, please let us know.
Yeah, so our clothing was also impacted, and huge shout out to Silo Mission and Linking Hope. They were our home for a while, and they helped us support our programs, and we were able to deliver clothing to our programs.
So what do you need right now?
Now that summer's coming about, shoes are really important to keep people's feet safe, and toiletries. So those are always important too. And clothing, summer clothing. It's going to get warm. We got snow today, but tomorrow I'm hoping for a sunny day.
No doubt. But even with that, it presents its new challenges, right? So when it comes to people living rough on the street, what should people at home keep in mind when they are donating? Little things.
Yeah, so if you're buying a new pair of shoes, just keep the old pair and do a collection. Look at when you're doing spring cleaning, just gather all those old shoes that you used to have and then come and donate to our clothing room.
And where should they be doing that too? Because we're in a construction site right now, so I'm sure you don't want to line up with people here.
Yeah, so we're still renovating our donation space. So right now, go to our website. All of our information is there. You can call us, you can email us, and all that information is right on Main Street Project's website.
Is there anything else people should know? These next couple of weeks are quite exciting for you guys. Lots of changes.
Yeah, so we do need lots of clothing. So do a clothing drive, just like the food drive, and make it a fun event with schools, with your sports teams, and come see our space.
And a lot of us have those old T-shirts from middle school. We've got 30 or 40 of them that are just bedtime shirts. I'm sure a lot of people could put them to good use.
Absolutely. And clean out the closet. This is the time to do it. Thank you, Ainsley. And speaking of a closet, today I was like, do I want my spring coat? Do I want my winter coat? I'm never sure which one to take in the morning because it's cold.
It is cold, and lately it's been cold through the afternoon. I left yesterday. I wore my more winter-like coat here, and then I had some errands to run into the afternoon and thought, oh, I won't need my coat, and I regretted that decision, leaving a coat behind. So yeah, we're still into that season where you want those extra layers on. Don't be fooled, even if we do start to see pockets of sunshine later. It's going to remain pretty cool and maybe even breezy throughout the day. -1 is where we're sitting right now with a 17K wind out of the north-northwest. The pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 88%. There have been scattered snowflakes over the course of the morning, and we still could see some more through the next few hours or so. There you can see them on the satellite image just through the southeastern part of the province, eventually tapering off as it pushes further to the east. But not a whole lot of sunshine today. The breaks that we get in the clouds, letting a few moments through, be very grateful for those because that's likely as good as it'll get. Speaking of as good as it'll get, 6 degrees. Well, 16 is normal for this time of year, so a well below normal day and a bit of a breeze increasing. That wind at times gusting to 40 kilometers per hour on top of those cool temperatures that'll have a little bit of a bite. I was needing my toque, for example, for my walk home yesterday, and we're rounding out the end of April. Dropping down again overnight below the freezing mark. +2 would be a normal low, so again, with these cooler temperatures lingering, but the breeze should ease overnight and the clouds starting to clear. We might see a little more sunshine tomorrow morning, but those clouds building up again through the day. So partly sunny conditions, slightly better with the temperatures, but only by a couple degrees. The real improvements come by the end of the week. On Friday, now 16 is normal. We're not going to quite get there, but we certainly will be closer, and then perhaps hitting those seasonal temps for the weekend.
We're getting a closer look at the City of Winnipeg's efforts to clean up homeless encampments on public property, thanks to a new report before City Hall. Over a 4-month period, the city says it took action at a total of 20 public properties. This includes dispatching an outreach worker, installing no camping signs, and providing offers of housing. Once the site was confirmed vacant and all the garbage and debris removed, the site was returned back to its intended use. In some cases, remediation work was straightforward and involved removing several garbage bags of debris from a vacated site, but other times it took several days, requiring heavy equipment because of the volume of debris, the presence of hazardous materials, and weather and location-based constraints. Community Services Committee Chair Vivian Santos says the real litmus test for the bylaw is coming.
This spring and summer will be kind of the litmus test on our encampment protocol. We know that during the winter times, we do see a lot of unsheltered residents do seek shelter in the shelter system. And so I see that we've done really good work with the protocol that's been implemented as of November. But of course, more work needs to be done.
The report says as the weather heats up, the city will continue to work with internal departments, outreach providers, and the provincial government to support those experiencing homelessness. Canada is now considering a ban on smoking for young people.
I'm looking into it right now. We saw what UK did, but I'm looking into it with all partners for now.
Federal Health Minister says she is looking into legislation that would permanently ban the sale of tobacco products to anyone born after 2008. It's similar to what the UK is doing. Last week, both houses of the UK Parliament passed the Tobacco and Vapes Bill, aimed at stopping anyone born after January 1st, 2009 from taking up smoking. Canada has set a goal to reduce tobacco use to less than 5% by 2035. The 2024 Canadian Community Health Survey estimates 11% of Canadians aged 18 years and older are still smoking. As for vaping, data from Statistics Canada suggests 1 in every 10 Canadians between the ages of 20 and 24 uses a vape every day. The Bank of Canada is widely expected to keep its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 2.25% when it announces its latest decision later this morning. The central bank is also set to release its latest economic forecast in its quarterly monetary policy report. The bank has been grappling with a confluence of factors that have clouded the outlook for inflation and the economy. Heading into the year, many economists had predicted inflation would ease and a softer economy would keep the Bank of Canada on the sidelines while it waited for clarity on the U.S. trade front. But the outbreak of war in the Middle East in late February has led to a surge in oil prices and upended inflation forecasts. Canada suffered its first loss at the 2026 Mixed Doubles Curling Championship Tuesday in Switzerland. Kadriana and Colton Lott from Gimli entered the matchup with Scotland 5-0 after an earlier victory over Hungary. However, 3 points in the fifth end helped the Scots break open a tie en route to an 8-5 victory. The Lotts were the only unbeaten team in Pool B ahead of the contest after edging out Italy Monday. Those two teams are now tied in the standings. Team Canada returns to the ice today against Germany. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. Following the rush, the southbound curb lane on Osborne will be closed from Stradbrook to Wardlaw Avenue. On Ellis Avenue, the westbound curb lane will be closed between Sherbrooke and Maryland Street. And the northbound curb lane on Allergy Boulevard will be closed from Batorny Street to Dawson Road. If you have any other traffic tips, please send us a text. Here's a look now at your gas prices. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.64, a small drop from yesterday. And the lowest price in the city is $1.44, found at Superstore and Shell on McPhillip Street. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Hey there, Lindsay Hamilton inside the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Tuesday. For it, we're taking a trip to Buffalo. We've got some overtime between the Bruins and Sabres. David Pastrnak gets sent in on the breakaway, makes a beautiful move, beats Alex Lyon. Their season on the line. Pasta coming up clutch, claiming your must-see moment. Meanwhile, the NBA playoffs continue tonight on TSN, and we have got a pair of games for you. First up, the Magic can eliminate the Pistons in Game 5, and the Lakers can eliminate the Rockets. Coverage begins 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. That's all for now from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a whimsical Wednesday.
The TSN Must-See Moment is brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, featuring Hunter Douglas products.
All right, it's -1 outside this morning. Those heavier clouds still lingering. A bit of a breeze, you'll notice. It's out of the north-northwest, 17 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 88%. You may still notice a flake or two of snow. You can see here on the satellite image through the southeastern part of the province. That's where all the activity has been this morning. Aside from that, mainly cloudy conditions across the province, but it is looking a little bit brighter, a little bit clearer in the far northeast, but a little bit cooler too, along with that sunshine. In fact, you might be one of the few places that doesn't get to crack the freezing mark today up in the Churchill area, and it looks like you've just had some flurries move in the last little while. A few clearer moments in the rest of that northeastern stretch, so Gillam 2 degrees on tap today. But again, normals for this time of year would get most of northern Manitoba up into the double digits. Churchill would be an exception to those seasonal temperatures in the double digits. Around -1 would be a normal high, so you're still going to be a few degrees shy of that today. Again, the far northern stretch might be the sunniest today, with the heavier clouds blanketing the rest of the province and the cooler temperatures right along with it. 16 degrees would be a normal high throughout much of central or southern Manitoba. And again, single digits is where most of us will be stalling out today. Not even getting into double digits, never mind close to what is normal. And yes, probably with a little bit of light scattered precipitation still expected over the course of the morning hours before a few more breaks in those clouds let pockets of sunshine through later on into the afternoon. Northwestern Ontario right there with us with the heavier clouds, the cool temperatures, and maybe even a little bit of light and scattered precipitation. Tomorrow, still on the cooler side as we're finishing off the month of April. Good riddance to that. It's been a crummy one overall, but May is looking so much better. Pushing up into the mid to high teens. Not quite the seasonal 16 degrees Friday, but at least a lot closer with some sunshine to finish off the week.
Thank you, Terry. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at Main Street Project this morning. We've been hearing on how we could support Main Street, but also there's a gala coming up where we could support them there too. Hello.
Manitoba loves their 50-50s, Rochelle, and galas are a great place for that. Cindy Titus is joining me to tell us all about their gala coming up in May. Thank you for being here today. What's going on at this gala? It sounds like a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. So it's happening in just over a week on Thursday, May 7th at the Fairmont Hotel. Pratt's is our presenting sponsor, Pratt's Whole Food Service. We're so grateful for them. We will have a silent auction launching online in a few days, so visit our website for that information. We currently have a 50-50 raffle going, which is also on the homepage of our website. You can just visit our website at mainstreetproject.ca and the link is there. We have about 400 people in the room so far, which is very exciting and amazing. CTV's Marilee Crusoe is our MC for the evening. Performers for the night are Donna Mero and Doozy. We're really excited about them, and so excited that local Winnipeg artist Cal Barteski is joining us to do a live painting that will auction off during the live auction portion of the evening. So it's shaping up to be a great event. We're all very excited about it, and we're excited to see everyone. And yeah, just get your 50-50 tickets and look out for our silent auction online soon.
That's awesome too, because when we get that many people together, great things can happen. When it comes to the changes happening even within the next couple of weeks here, where do those funds go and who is it really helping?
Yeah, so funds go directly to our programs and services here at Main Street Project, supporting people experiencing homelessness. During the live auction portion of the evening, we're doing a fund in need specifically to raise funds for a new wheelchair accessible van. We're in desperate need of a new van, and our friends at Vicar Automotive Group are really helping us out with this by starting the bidding off at $15,000 for the new van. So we're already ahead of the game. We're really excited to see what happens in the room that night. I feel like it's going to be really magical and just such a special experience.
We're almost out of time. Any more X's and O's?
Yeah, just again, check our website at mainstreetproject.ca for the 50-50 raffle link and the silent auction, which will be launching later this week.
Thank you so much. And you know what? Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be alongside one of those vans, and we're going to learn just what they do.
Thank you, Ainsley. An Ontario man has just celebrated his 107th birthday. He's one of the oldest people in that province. CTV's Corey Baird spoke with him about the milestone.
A birthday bash befitting the occasion.
Happy birthday to you.
It's 107 years for Ivan Winnichuk, or to hear him tell it, 107 and counting.
Thanks, everybody.
Being 107 comes with challenges, and not in the how do you get that many candles on a cake variety. In the Ukraine of the 1930s, Ivan overcame inconceivable hardships. During the Holodomor, a famine induced by the Soviet Republic, Winnichuk and his family were shipped to Siberia. He was later drafted to fight for the Russians in World War II before fleeing to Germany, where he met his wife Olga, immigrating to Canada in 1951.
His mother says to him, never look back, always go forward, look for freedom and peace. Forget about us, just keep on going west.
West he went, building a home in London, Ontario with his bare hands. Hands he'd use in his later years to make origami for his great-granddaughters.
Even when we go to visit him when he was like 100 years old, he could still pick us up even if we're so tall and you know. Yeah, and he always just reiterates how important it is to keep moving around, stay healthy, and yeah, he can.
No drinking booze. No smoking, no stress, and he always knew that he can overcome things. He's a very, very positive person, very positive character.
Ivan is currently the 4th oldest person in Ontario, with a competitive streak that won't let him be content to stay in that position.
I challenged him to be 110. He always wins.
Corey Baird, CTV News, Mississauga.
Let's see who else is celebrating a milestone today. Happy 3rd birthday to Caleb, with love from Mom, Dad, Charlotte, and Lizzie. Happy 27th birthday, Dylan. Love from Mom, Dad, and Brayden, who all wish you an amazing day. Nice fish. Happy 13th birthday, Nicholas. Your family sends their love and says have an awesome day, who all wish you an amazing day. Happy 8th birthday, Cameron. Lots of love from your mommy and daddy, who all wish you an amazing day. And a happy birthday, Cindy. Love from your family and friends. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff, Winnipeg's balloon headquarters with 3 locations.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
6 degrees is likely as good as it's going to get today. That puts us about 10 degrees below seasonal. 16 is normal for this time of year. We got a lot closer last year, all the way up to 11 degrees, not quite normal. But look at 1952. That was a warm year. The last few days our records have been from 1952. 33 degrees, almost 34 degrees. It sounds like a shock to the system. It would be if we were to experience that in the next few days. We're only going to get the slightest bit of a warm-up that'll take us back up to what is normal for this time of year, but still pretty cool for the next couple of days or for the rest of April, if you will. It stopped snowing. That's some good news. It's -1 right now, and I'm seeing a little bit of sunshine. We'll take more of that, please. The winds out of the north-northwest are 17 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising, and the humidity sitting at 88%. I have my mittens in my hand. I'm going to stuff them back in my pocket. It's not that cold. Again, I'm only out here for a minute or so. I did need my toque for my walk home yesterday, or trots around the city. It was feeling pretty chilly, and today likely more of the same, especially with the winds increasing slightly, only to a 40k wind, but still you'll notice that with these cooler temperatures and the heavier clouds. Yes, we'll take moments of sunshine as it pops out from behind those clouds, but mainly cloudy, definitely cool over the next couple of days.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal government announced its spring economic update yesterday. The Liberal government says there's a windfall from better than expected private sector fiscal revenues. They say that extra cash is being tossed back into circulation to support households and build up the economy. Joining us now with a reaction is financial journalist Brian Borzakowski. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So you had a chance to sort of listen in on this fiscal update yesterday, and what was your first impression?
Well, I mean, these are always interesting because they're not the budget. So there's not these huge announcements that are kind of game-changing, but they try and say something about the fiscal health of Canada. So that was the first takeaway, I think, was that the deficit is smaller than what they had expected by about $11 billion. So it'll come in at around 66 or 67 billion, down from about 78 billion. And that, that's good news. It's always good when the deficit is smaller. Right. And that means the Canadian government is taking more revenues. Now, one of the revenue sources they said was higher oil profits. We know oil's gone up because of the war in the Middle East. I mean, one thing there is that as quickly as it could go up, it could also fall. So how does that change projections over time? Because they said that they're going to get the deficit down to about $50 billion by around 2030, 2031. So they're still trying to reduce that, but things can change. So that's good news. Mm-hmm. There, when it comes to relief for Canadians, there's not a lot. The one, I guess, big announcement there was that in 2027 they're going to reduce CPP contributions. This is the money we put into the Canada Pension Plan to eventually take back out for our retirements. And so those contributions will fall a bit. So the numbers there are about you'll save about $133 if you make $70,000. And obviously if you make more, you'll save more. Okay. That's for the year. For businesses pay that contribution too. So if they have, several employees, they'll save that $133 on 70,000, across multiple staff, which could help businesses. So all of it helps a little bit. This comes on the heels of that tax, decrease. They eliminated 10 cents a liter on tax, on the gas tax. Yeah. So I think, that maybe ties into this a bit too. A little bit of relief. It's not a ton. They were also talking about investing about $6 billion in skilled trades. We have a major skilled trades shortage. So training people up, about adding 80 to about 100,000 skilled trade workers over the next 5 years. A lot of these, things are also long-term. So while there's a little bit of relief right now, Mark Carney and the government is trying to make projects that will maybe materialize in a few years from now, while Canadians want relief now. So it's sort of there's this fine balance of how do we help people today and how do we get the economy going for tomorrow. And you don't want to spend too much money to do that either, because we already have a deficit. Exactly. So overall, what was your sense of how our economy is doing in light of this, tariff war,
what's going on in the Middle East. How are we doing?
You know, it's holding up, which is it's pretty good, because about a year ago, what are we in the end of April here?
Yeah.
April 2nd, 2025, Liberation Day, with all the tariffs, you know, the big chart Donald Trump had. We were scared. Like, everybody was freaking out. You know, economists' projections were projecting recessions and worst case scenarios, and that hasn't materialized. You know, it could be stronger. The Canadian economy could be stronger. It can always be stronger, but we're chugging along.
Yeah.
And I think the deficit numbers show that it's doing better than even the government expected when they announced the budget not long ago.
But inflation has risen slightly.
Right, and that could be a problem. That is more directed because of the war in the Middle East. Gas prices have come up.
Yep.
So inflation's come down because gas was so cheap, but there's some key things like food is a big one, really hasn't come down yet. That's still pretty high. So I don't know how that's exactly going to come down over the next, several months, because we've seen that stay pretty sticky at about a, 4% year over year increase. And that's the thing that people are going to feel the most. But with the gas prices rising now, I mean, that's going to affect people. So the tax, taking off the gas tax, that helps. If Manitoba does that, which they've talked about, that will help.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be a tough road, I think, for people.
And the Bank of Canada is expected to release its latest amount when it comes to interest rates.
Yeah, so they're announcing today, 8:45 Central, and they're expected to stand pat. About 2.25% is where they're at now. And so there are no big changes there, but I think what to watch there is what do they say about the Canadian economy and the risks that this war is having to the Canadian economy, right? The oil prices, if they continue to rise, how could that impact Canada? What's sort of the long-term effects? It's the wording that they say that I'm going to be watching for.
Okay, we're almost out of time. We got to talk about this Sovereign Wealth Fund. It's the first ever of its kind in Canada. What is it? What does it mean?
Okay, so it's really interesting, but basically they're going to invest in Canadian projects. It's different than some other sovereign wealth funds that only invest outside of their countries. They say Canadians will be able to invest in it. It's unclear what the $25 billion that they're putting into it, where that's going to come from.
Okay.
Is it debt? Is it taxpayer money? Usually it's from oil surplus, like in Norway you see that.
Yeah.
We don't have a surplus, we have a deficit. So still lots of questions around how that's going to work.
Brian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Here's a look outside at Kenniston and Sterling Lion Way. It looks like things are moving well this Wednesday morning. We're taking a break. We'll be right back. It's Wednesday, April 29th, fueling a grocery price bump. The effects of conflict in the Middle East are now being felt in the checkout line of Winnipeg supermarkets. Youth social media ban. The province puts forth a few more details as to how it might be enforced and how it could affect the way classroom teachers utilize online resources. And a champion by chance, how a chess set left in her home by visitors led this 11-year-old to become one of Britain's top players. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning. It's 8 o'clock on your Wednesday. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. Now, it might not feel like it, but spring is here. And
technically.
It is, yes. And it's also tick season. And they are indeed, yes, out there because the tip line is already getting some sort of advice or
I thought
areas.
I was the downer talking about snow.
I know.
She's talking about ticks.
I hate ticks so much, and they're out there. And so there are things that you need to keep in mind on how to remove them if you do catch a tick, because, of course, they can spread all kinds of really awful diseases, some deadly diseases in some cases as well. So we're going to get an update from an entomologist on what to look for and what to do if you find a tick on your body. But the weather...
Okay, the snow is over. At least there's the good news this morning. The snow has tapered off. Yes, a few flakes were flying first thing, but now we're starting to see some pockets of sunshine peeking out from behind those clouds. It's -1 with a bit of a breeze out of the north-northwest. That wind is 17 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 88%. That flurry activity was primarily just here in the southeastern part of the province, and you can see that it's out of the Winnipeg area, still might fall in some areas further to the south, to the east of us, but then it'll eventually clear on out of the way. and we'll be done with the snow for today. I wish I could be so confident that we'd be done with it for good, but you know, Mother Nature, she loves to just throw things our way this time of year, and the next couple of days she's still throwing our way these well below seasonal temperatures. There will be moments of sunshine here or there, so enjoy whatever pockets of sun you get. There could still be some scattered precipitation, or here through the southwest, some showers. That'll be for tomorrow. We're likely to remain on the drier side, but maybe have just, again, passing precipitation like what we saw this morning over the next couple of days, with these cooler temperatures expected to last until the end of the month. But thank goodness the end of the month arrives tomorrow. So today and tomorrow with the below seasonal temperatures, 16 degrees is normal for this time of year, and at least we'll get closer to that as we flip the calendar over to May. So the end of the week will come with some sunshine, some mid-teen temperatures, and it looks like we've got a nice little warm-up sticking around for the weekend. And our art today, it kind of looks like a snowflake, and somewhat fitting for today with those flurries. Thank you to 4-year-old Pierce for the art today, and please keep sending your artwork to us through our website now at ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and then you're entered to win a $100 gift card from Crockadoodle on Kenniston.
The weather art of the day is brought to you by Crockadoodle. Spend quality time with loved ones and paint memories together.
Higher fuel prices lately have made your weekly fill-ups more costly. Of course, the companies that transport the groceries you buy each week are also paying more to get products to local shelves, and they're now passing those expenses along to you.
I mean, we're stuck with whatever they give, or we try to find an alternate supplier that's not charging as much.
Thanks to the war in Iran, fuel prices are much higher. While you may have noticed it first at the pump, now food prices are being affected as suppliers pass on higher costs. Food fair owner Munther Zeed says in many cases he eats the extra cost to try and keep his prices low, but he says that approach is not always sustainable, and he's had little choice but to raise prices. Sylvain Charlebois from Dalhousie University's Agri-Food Analytics Lab says consumers are adapting to the higher prices. He says some people are changing how often they eat certain proteins.
For example, someone would not eat meat during the week, and on weekends it's fair game. So people are pacing themselves.
Shoppers are turning to other ways to stretch their food budgets, such as bulk buying when they find a good deal on items they usually buy anyway, and using more coupons. More details are emerging on Manitoba's possible ban on children using social media. Premier Wab Kinew says tech companies that don't comply could face billion-dollar fines.
Facebook, Meta, they're going to spend more money on data centers this year than the entire size of all of Manitoba's economy. So we can't fine them 10 grand, 100 grand, $1 million. Like for a company that's going to spend tens of billions of dollars on chips this year, what is a $100 million fine? It's nothing.
It's the Premier's first comments on the issue since he announced the ban over the weekend. He also emphasized the fines would be directed at big tech platforms, not children or their parents. Details of the plan, including how a province might have jurisdiction over international platforms and when the ban would go into effect, remain unclear. But Kinew added schools and teachers may no longer be able to use AI chatbots and sites such as YouTube.
Teachers will need to get ready, school leaders will need to get ready, and of course we'll work with the tech platforms if they want to modify their products in the future, but for now there's a lot of legwork that needs to happen.
The government says it may roll out the ban's first phase in schools while legislative changes are made. The Liberals' spring economic update includes some relief measures for Canadians while also carrying a big deficit.
There's kind of a fog of uncertainty, which is clouding a lot of parts of the world. And Canada, despite all that, has been able to manage to lower the deficit.
The federal deficit for the last fiscal year sits at $67 billion. That's about $11 billion lower than what was projected in the budget. As for spending, the biggest new line item is a program to recruit and train up to 100,000 skilled trades workers. The opposition is accusing the Liberals of more reckless spending.
Everyone thought it would be impossible to outspend the reckless Justin Trudeau, but then this new Liberal Prime Minister came along and said, hold my champagne.
The spring economic update does not lay out a path to balance the budget within the next 5 years. This 11-year-old is one of the UK's top chess players.
Because I go to school, it links to so many school subjects like maths, it helps in calculation, and music, it helps in pattern recognition.
6 years ago, she got into chess by accident. In 2020, a family friend left a chess set behind as they returned to India. At the time, she just wanted to keep it as a toy, but instead, her dad used it as an opportunity to give her lessons. Last year, she became the youngest female player to beat a grandmaster, beating 60-year-old Pete Wells at the 2025 British Chess Championships. Now she's also in the world's top 100 women's players, ranked in 72nd. Here's a look at what's going on now in traffic along Osborne Street. Things have picked up over here, as you can see, but overall moving quite well. If you see any issues out on the streets, please send us a text.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at Main Street Project, standing outside by the outreach van. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. When you support Main Street Project, this is what you're helping, and the people behind that. Karen Murison is joining us, and that's just a great example. Tell us about what these outreach vans do and how they operate.
Yeah, so we have currently 2 vans out on the road 24/7 every day of the year, covering the entire city of Winnipeg. Starting May 1st, we'll go down to 1 van 24/7 throughout the summer. And they do everything from supporting folks with a hot cup of coffee and a sandwich, seasonally appropriate clothing, rides to shelter and warm spaces, and connecting folks to housing.
A huge challenge that our city and our world is facing, of course, is this drug crisis. In terms of that and getting people the safety that they need, is this an integral part?
Absolutely. So we have an amazing team that is trained in an opioid response, and they travel all through the city. They're saving lives every day, and they're also handing out lots of naloxone and training our community how to use that naloxone in case they come across an overdose, so they can support. Yeah.
And people can help how? Because I understand that you're fundraising for a wheelchair accessible van.
Yeah, that's right. So folks can help us in lots of different ways. I mean, having a wheelchair accessible van is really, really important to ensure that we can support every person that needs that ride anywhere to go to a medical appointment or whatever. Folks can help by donating online, so they can go to mainstreetproject.ca. They can support with financial donations there, but people can help us in lots of different ways, also by donating clothing or even food to our food bank.
At the heart of it, of course, the food bank, but this is really where you're meeting people. I guess I should say on their behalf, anything else that you'd like people to know?
Yeah, I just want to recognize our amazing team and the hard work that they do. Relationship building with our unhoused community is really, really important to us, and we always ensure that we are trauma informed and meeting folks where they are at to get to know them, and then support them in a way that's tailored to them.
Thank you so much. We're all Winnipeggers. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ainsley. A country music festival is coming to the city, and we have a contest for you.
Put some miles on it. Back to the Chevy with the engine running.
Country Thunder 2026 will be here in Winnipeg on Friday, July 3rd. Kane Brown will help kickstart the summer at Princess Auto Stadium, and Your Morning Winnipeg has 4 VIP tickets to give away this week. The global superstar will be joined on stage by Bailey Zimmerman, Co Wetzel, and Robin Ottolini. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvwinnipeg.ca. Don't forget to enter the keyword stadium. Good luck. All right, it is Wednesday.
Still moonwalking around.
There you go. We need those moves this morning to lift up our spirits because it's cold outside.
Yeah, you know, we're going to deal with these chilly temperatures still for another couple of days, so don't think you can moonwalk your way out of them, unfortunately. We've got these heavier clouds hanging around. They even brought a little bit of light snow first thing as we're looking now through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. And thankfully now that flurry activity does seem to have tapered off. We might see a few more flakes. I'm not going to make any promises. I would never make a promise about the weather, except perhaps to say that the weekend is, at this point, looking like it's going to be so much warmer than anything we've experienced over this start of the week, or for the rest of the month, which technically is today and tomorrow. Okay, so 0 degrees, that's where we're sitting right now. Back to the freezing mark. It's taken some time to get here. We're still below seasonal. 2 degrees plus 2, that would be a normal low temperature. Once we're starting to look into northern Manitoba, you can see everybody is experiencing these cooler temperatures, even colder yet across that most northern stretch where things are actually a little bit clearer in the far northern part of the province. We had the snow. It seems to be right now tapering off and moving off to the east, eventually clearing out, but not really clearing out, as the mainly cloudy conditions will likely continue with a few more pockets of sunshine here or there that will enjoy whatever Mother Nature gives us. Temperature-wise, yes, you can see it's going to remain well below seasonal, getting up to 5 degrees by the time kids are coming home from school, with 6 our expected high, but 16 is a normal daytime high. Today and tomorrow, well off the mark of that, and then that warm-up coming for May. That's Friday, May 1st, and the first weekend of May might have us back to those seasonal temperatures in double digits. Will continue right into the start of next week. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with your Morning Winnipeg.
The federal government is looking to ban cryptocurrency ATMs, citing their role in fraud and money laundering in the country's spring economic update released on Tuesday. The government said that it is proposing to ban crypto ATMs, describing them as a primary method for scammers to defraud victims and for criminals to place their cash proceeds of crime. Despite the proposed ban, Canadians can still buy crypto assets from legitimate brick-and-mortar money services businesses. Ryanair's chief executive Michael O'Leary has warned that several European airlines could face significant financial difficulties and potential failures if jet fuel prices remain high throughout the summer season due to the Strait of Hormuz shutdown. Now, despite the volatile market, O'Leary affirmed that Ryanair is the best insulated, most hedged airline in Europe and committed to not imposing price increases or fuel surcharges for its customers. China has suspended issuing new licenses for autonomous vehicles, according to people familiar with the matter, after dozens of Baidu's Apollo Go robo-taxis suddenly stopped in Wuhan last month, stranding passengers and disrupting traffic. The suspension of new licenses prevents self-driving companies from adding new robo-taxis to their fleets, starting a new test project, or expanding to a new city. It's not clear how long the suspension will last. Those are your morning business headlines. For BNN Bloomberg, I'm Roger Peterson.
If you're feeling burnout, you call in sick a lot, or you're struggling with your mental health at work, your manager may be to blame. That's according to a local workplace consulting firm, Achieve Center for Leadership. Joining us now from Achieve Center for Leadership are Daniel Anthony Dirksen and Chris Downey. Good morning to both of you.
So glad to be here,
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now, I talked about some of the signs that, people are not happy at work. What are some of the other things that your research is showing?
Well, I think both research and experience show us what disengagement looks like when people aren't feeling committed or enthusiastic or energetic about work. I mean, the wheels come off the bus, right? Yeah, people show up sick, but far more concerning to me is the people that are showing up, but they're checked out, they're disengaged, they're exhausted, they're burnt out. They're really not bringing their best selves to work. Yeah. And that's not good for their team, it's not good for business, but it's not good for their home life as well, right? They bring that into the spaces after work as well.
So for managers, what are signs that their employees might be struggling with burnout or that they might be having some problems with their mental health? What can managers look for?
Yeah, I think that there's cues all around us often that give us this kind of a sign that things might not be going well. That sometimes people that have maybe been vocal or active in the past all of a sudden aren't really saying anything. That could be a cue that maybe something's going on. I don't suggest we interpret what that means, but that is a sign. And so employees are often giving us signs that on how they're doing. But if we're not tapped into those subtle things, we don't check those out early, that can get carried away. And all of a sudden that sick time starts to show up. And then we're not in a good place. And as Dan mentioned, not only not in a good place at work, but probably more importantly, people go home.
And then it spills over into their family life, as you mentioned. Now, for employees who are not happy, often they'll quit too, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think turnover is one of the biggest symptoms that we see, for sure. And often there's so many factors that lead into that. It's easy to say, how do we keep people around? But the goal is not to keep people around. The goal is actually to engage people and make sure they're doing well. And when it comes to that, managers stand at the center of that issue, right? So the research shows the data is clear. 4 out of 5 people are disengaged at work, which means in Canada right now, most people driving to work are not looking forward to their day.
Oh my goodness.
4 out of 5 people. So that's most people are showing up to work and they're just kind of meh. I'd rather not be here, right? 70% of what it takes to engage people at work ties directly back to one's manager.
Okay, so if managers are listening, because you know they are, what should they do about this?
Yeah. Well, one, as Dan mentioned, that 70%, that's the direct manager. That's not even the CEO or the vice president. That's the relationship with the direct manager. So number one, I think, first of all, for managers that are taking on this responsibility, it actually starts with you. Take care of yourself. Because if you're coming in disengaged or you're not feeling it, it's really hard to have others feel that way. And then the second, as Stan already highlighted, is invest in that relationship, because we know that matters. That's the single biggest contributor to how people experience the workplace. There's lots of other factors, but the biggest one by a landslide is that relationship with the direct manager.
Okay,
right?
so for employees right now who maybe called in sick even just yesterday or thinking about doing it this morning, what would you tell them?
Yeah, if you're telling to the employees, I mean, you really have to advocate for yourself. If you're not doing well at work, I think we get into this mindset that work is work. We don't expect it to be good. We don't actually expect it to be adding value to your life. And I always tell people, it's not okay for work to not be okay. If you're noticing that inside yourself, that kind of pit in your stomach, you're dreading showing up, you have to name that. You got to advocate for your needs and express that to your manager, to safe people within your workplace, to friends and family, and think about, what do I need to show up the way that I want to at work.
We're almost out of time already. Quickly, now you have a book that's out there that's available right now that is geared just for managers. This You Can Manage. Where can people find it?
They can find it on Amazon. They can find it at youcanmanage.ca.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us, gentlemen.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Well, what I was needing was a little bit of sunshine, and thank goodness I have this built into my day. It does make for a better morning when you get to step outside and see the sun. Yes, we're seeing the sun finally. We had these heavier clouds hanging around all morning long with even some scattered flurries earlier on, and now I'm seeing some blue sky above, and what a mood booster that is. It's 0 degrees right now with a 19K wind out of the north-northwest. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 79%. So I'm hopeful for you that you get a chance to get outside at some point through your day. Maybe your manager will give you a few breaks so that you can come out and enjoy this. There will still be some heavier clouds, don't get me wrong, and we might even see a flake of snow with the temperature hovering around the freezing mark right now, but some improvements as the day goes on. We should get up to a whopping 6 degrees. I'm joking when I say a whopping 6 degrees, because that's still 10 degrees below normal. Today and tomorrow, cool, well off the marks of what you would expect this time of year, but I'm really hopeful for the improvements that we'll feel by the end of the week or the start of the month. Yes, Friday ushers in May, and it's going to come along with some nicer conditions, a little more sunshine, and some far better temperatures, putting us up into the mid-teens, where we're likely to stay throughout the weekend. And it is springtime with little babies coming our way. Well, not our way, but that's Blondie, the mom, and her new baby mule foal. Thanks to Ken for sharing this photo with us. Keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca.
Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
It's an original show that tells the story of a bachelor, a surprising contestant, and a love story. A world premiere musical written and created right here in Winnipeg is soon hitting the stage at the Gargoyle Theatre. The production is titled The Perfect Man, and audiences are expected to fall in love with it. Joining us now are the director of The Perfect Man musical, Sharon Bezier, and actor Reed McTavish. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, this is really cool. It's a world premiere, created entirely in Winnipeg. It is fully inspired by satire and making fun of dating shows. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in The Perfect Man.
Well, should I start? Yeah,
Absolutely.
The Perfect Man is, I loved it immediately. The songs are really, really catchy, and it's kind of, it juxtaposes like our modern dating life with old music from kind of the music hall era.
Oh, fun.
So a lot of it has sort of a 1930s kind of feel to it, and there's a bit of vaudeville in it, and yeah.
One of our dances that Sam and I do is very inspired by Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, so kind of has that nice style to it.
Very romantic.
And tell us about the creators. Who created it and what inspired it?
So Sarah Krindler is the playwright and composer and arranger, and she wrote this with her mother Rena, and it's so witty. Like each song, we were talking about it this morning, we're waking up every morning with a different song in our head from the show because they're so catchy. It's just,
that's what you want.
Even the songs that I'm not specifically learning for myself, I'm still singing everyone else's songs.
So lovely.
So,
So you are playing the perfect man.
I am apparently the perfect man.
Tell us about your character.
Clayton is... he's this handsome, charming guy who's playing the part of the perfect man, but you kind of see through there that perfection doesn't really exist. There's a bit of obtuseness to him. Some things kind of fly right over his head, but he's sincere and he's he truly believes that he's there to find the one.
Okay, and some of the characters that are on, the cast is incredible, right? They're all singing, they're all dancing. Tell us about the cast.
Yeah, the cast, it's a cast of 8, am I right?
7 or 8.
7 or 8, I think there's 8. And yeah, so all of the women are just fantastic singers. Everyone dances the lights out. It's choreographed by Victoria Excande, who's done just an incredible job.
Yeah.
And the theater, the Gargoyle Theater itself, is a very small venue.
Yeah.
So we've really, with not a lot of wing space, so we use the whole space. So when you come to the show, you're kind of surrounded by the action.
Fully immersed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's running from May 6th to the 17th at the Gargoyle Theater, and still lots of tickets available, right?
Yes, at thegargoyletheater.com.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, you two, and good luck with the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Manitoba Blue Cross. We could pay your bills with a massive $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra grand or 20 grand. Today's code word is equity. Head to the contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter equity with your info for your chance to win the Your Morning $20,000 Pay Your Bills contest, brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, your local trusted health benefits provider. Tune in tomorrow for another code word. Good luck.
It's 0 degrees outside right now. Oh, that's the cloudy side of the sky. I saw some pockets of sunshine. Actually, I saw like a break in those clouds. Lots of blue sky above. Well, not lots, but more than that. That doesn't look very good. Anyway, north-northwest winds are 19 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 79%. There are places in the sky that are looking better than that. You just have to get outside and find them. Turn your head a little bit and you'll be like, ooh, there's the sun, and then take a moment to soak that up, because we're not going to be seeing a lot of sunshine today. Mainly cloudy conditions will still blanket most of the province. Farther up into the north is where things will likely be the clearest, but it's also where things will be the coldest. Although that being said, it's not going to be warming up much for us here in the south either. 6 degrees is where we're headed today. 10 degrees below normal. 16 would be a seasonal daytime high. Not even close today. We will also notice that wind increasing up to 40 kilometers per hour. But some good news, we had some flurries first thing, and it looks like for the most part those have tapered off. We might see another flake yet or two, but increasingly better conditions expected, especially as it warms up. I mean, once we're getting to 6 degrees, it's not going to snow on us anymore. It's also not going to feel very bright or balmy. -1 is where we fall to overnight. Just a few clouds lingering tonight, but those clouds sticking around throughout tomorrow as well. And 8 degrees are expected high. That finishes off April. Good riddance. It's been another below seasonal month. I swear, April and March and April have been pretty crummy, but May is looking so much better. With mid-teens on the way, 16 normal for this time of year. We might even surpass those numbers as we're looking through the coming weekend.
The Winnipeg Police Service is asking for your help in locating 2 people who were last seen together about a week ago. 20-year-old Asia LaForest and 27-year-old Baron Morissette were last seen at around 5:30 p.m. on April 23rd in Winnipeg's Dufferin neighborhood. LaForest is female and is described as 5 feet 5 inches tall with a medium build, light brown hair and hazel eyes. LaForest was last seen wearing a baby blue pullover hoodie. Morissette is male, 5 feet 10 inches tall with a thin build, short black hair and brown eyes. Morissette was last seen wearing beige sweatpants. The Winnipeg Police Service is concerned for LaForest and Morissette's well-being and is asking anyone with any information regarding their whereabouts to contact the Winnipeg Police Service Missing Persons Unit at 204-986-6250. First Nations leaders in Manitoba are voicing their opposition to a federal bill recognizing Red River Métis self-governance.
We are not saying no to progress. We are saying that progress must be done in a way that respects First Nations.
Instead, the Assembly of Manitoba chief says Bill C-21 could infringe on its existing treaty rights and doesn't provide a clear framework to prevent overlap on treaty land and jurisdiction.
The absence of enforceable safeguards, there are no clear, legally binding protections ensuring First Nations treaty and inherent rights will not be impacted.
AMC says Ottawa hasn't properly consulted with First Nations leadership. It's calling on Canada to uphold First Nations sovereignty and treaty relationships and address legal or outstanding legal uncertainties before advancing new governance frameworks. Friday, Manitoba Métis Federation President David Chartrand said the bill does not infringe on anyone else's rights. Second reading of the bill is in progress in the House of Commons. The cost of raising children is increasing, and so are fears around saving for their education. In the past, it meant setting money aside for an RESP and watching it grow. But a new survey says many new parents aren't in a position to do that. CTV's Heather Wright on the growing concern parents have about being priced out of their children's post-secondary plans.
With 3 kids in university at the same time, Brad Nussbaum knows just how expensive post-secondary tuition can be.
It was sort of like childcare, right? Having 3 kids in childcare at the same time, it's expensive. School's expensive.
Brad and his wife made a deal with their kids. They'd pay for tuition, the kids pay for living expenses. Registered education savings plans help cover most, and they got creative to take care of the rest.
There's a lot of scholarships that don't go claim. So we had the kids apply for every scholarship that we could find.
But as post-secondary tuition rises, more families say they might not be able to fully pay for their child's post-secondary education. According to a survey from Embark and Angus Reid, just 33% of parents say they can cover their kids' tuition. 27% say they won't be able to, while 26% expect it will be financially difficult.
Despite the large number of new parents today are financially planning and budgeting for the future of their children, there's not a lot of confidence that they can afford it.
In its early parent readiness report, Embark, an education savings and planning company, says there is significant concern among new and expectant parents when it comes to the cost of raising children. More than half say they are only somewhat financially prepared, while more than 1 in 3 say they've received financial help from family members. The advice from both financial planners and parents like Brad is to plan early to have as much time to save as possible.
We did a lot of things for our kids to get them to where they are.
With tuition, rent, and other living expenses, post-secondary education in Canada can exceed $30,000 a year, a number that keeps rising. Heather Wright, CTV News, Burlington, Ontario.
Here's what's happening in traffic now along Osborne Street. Things have lightened up in this part of the city and moving overall quite well. If you see anything out there, please send us a text. Here's a look now at your gas prices. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.64, a small drop from yesterday. And the lowest price in the city is $1.44, found at Superstore and Shell on McPhillip Street. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
It's time now for your answers to our question of the day. Today is International Dance Day, and we wanted to know, when was the last time you danced? Susan says, I dance when I clean my house. Dean shared, last time I danced was on my birthday, December 16th, 2023, at the Palomino Club. Last time Brenda danced was New Year's Eve. Carol danced this morning while getting ready for work. Marlene danced last weekend at a wedding social. Prior to this, it's been years. Summer dances every morning. She put on Dawn of the Barbies by Diggy Graves and dances around her living room. Helen danced in her kitchen a week ago. Kelly shared, I danced the Kol O Maika with my dad last August on his 91st birthday with my friend playing the accordion. Phoebe had ballet dancing yesterday, and it was great. And Felicity had hip hop on Friday, and it was fine. Cheryl says, I dance every day in my kitchen. I love music, and when I hear a good song, I dance. And Daryl shared that his wife dances every morning in the shower. Well, thank you so much for your responses.
Question of the day, brought to you by Provivo, Manitoba's #1 cool sculpting clinic. Science-backed body contouring.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's been hanging out at Main Street Project this morning. Hi, Ainsley.
Hi, Rochelle. Good morning. And I love being able to share good news with you guys. Good things that are happening in our community, and Main Street Project has a very special announcement that they're going to share with us. Jamil Mahmood joins us, the executive director. What's going on in terms of housing, Jamil?
Yeah, we're really excited. We're bringing a new housing block online at 40 Yonge Street. So it's going to be 26 units, 42 beds. It's going to be second stage housing, so folks who have already transitioned from the streets into transitional housing, now there'll just be more permanent housing for them. So a little fewer supports on site, but still 24-hour supports on site, and really excited to be working with Raise the Roof and Five Stones on this project to bring it to life. And so Raise the Roof is the building owner. They're doing the renovations. Five Stones will do property management, and we'll do all the people stuff for the building.
When we talk about housing, we don't have enough time because it's such a complex conversation and everybody's got a lot to say about it. But second stage housing, more particularly, what does that look like for people?
Yeah, so it's people who've kind of gone through the initial transition from being homeless to being housed. They've stabilized a bit. They can, cook meals and kind of do a little more independent stuff, but still need a little support, day-to-day case management support, and support on site. So it's kind of moving folks once they're more stable, and the plan is to work to make people independent, give them the opportunity to grow some more skills, and then eventually be fully independent. So it'll start with heavy supports, but then slowly those supports will, as people don't need them, will transition to other people. So our goal is to kind of free up more space for folks that are maybe in transitional, so other folks can move in from encampments to those houses, and then the people that are more stable will have a place to stay at this new location.
Talk about the impact, because it's not fair for me to say, how important is housing? Well, of course, it's the most important. What's the impact?
Yeah, having a house is probably the biggest thing you can do for someone, so that's a great gift we get to provide, but really it's about stability. So once people know they're housed with us, even if it's transitional, we're going to do everything we can to make sure you continue to be housed long term. And so this is a good step towards that, to make sure we have other options for folks, and ensuring that once they're housed, they never have to go back to the streets again, and that's our goal. So that's such an amazing gift, and when you can give that to somebody and help them gain that independence, it means so much, and also has a huge impact on our city, right? That means less hospital visits, less pressure on the streets. Like, all those things get relieved through housing people, and the gift to give someone the life to have a place to call their own means so much. And once you have a house, it's your place of home.
Thank you so much. It's the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It doesn't look like the sun is shining out there right now.
It most definitely is not. I know I was teasing earlier when I was like, oh, we just showed you the worst camera view. Actually, I cannot find the sunshine out here any longer. It is completely clouded over. I think there still will be moments here or there throughout the day where we get to enjoy those pockets of sunshine. But this is why I say, if you do find yourself in a moment where the sun is shining down on you, just express all of that gratitude and maybe ask for a little more. Never hurts to ask, right? 0 degrees is where we're sitting right now, with winds out of the north-northwest, 19 kilometers per hour. Pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 79%. A little more sunshine, please. We can keep our fingers crossed. Heavier clouds are expected to blanket most of the province today, and along with that, the cooler below seasonal temperatures. High of 6 degrees today, and that's about 10 degrees below normal. 16 would be a seasonal daytime high, and we'll probably notice that wind increasing a little bit as well. And tomorrow isn't going to be a whole lot better or a whole lot different. Heavier clouds will still likely continue. Thank you. Where did that come from? Oh, that must be on the other side of the buildings. That's okay. Leave it up there. These are the moments that, like I said, thank you. More of that, please. We'll take every moment we can get. So 6 degrees today. It's going to stay a little bit cool for tomorrow, too, but the warm-up, that'll come for this weekend. Taking a break. We'll see you soon.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
A new report is painting a clearer picture of the barriers facing Indigenous and racialized students in Manitoba as they leave high school for post-secondary education. The report by the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives followed 27 students for 3 years post-high school graduation. All graduated between 2012 and 2021. Researchers identified 4 key issues issues which affected their post-secondary experience, a complex system that was difficult to navigate, racism and difficulty fitting in, intergenerational trauma, mental health and responsibilities to caregivers, and socioeconomic inequality.
One of the biggest barriers was funding. We need to see a redistribution of wealth so that Indigenous and racialized youth can access post-secondary education. They need full funding supports. They need housing supports.
The authors make a number of other recommendations, including help navigating the post-secondary system, mental health supports, and faculty and curriculum, which better reflects students' experiences and backgrounds. Fans of the Canadian Football League got a chance to celebrate a special hometown moment Tuesday evening for those on hand to watch the league's draft.
We got 250 Red Blacks right here, look.
You're looking at Giordano Vaquero, the first overall draft pick in the CFL draft, and a celebration from hundreds of friends and family at the Centro Kubota Center. Following the moment, Vaquero was picked by the Ottawa Red Blacks. Vaquero, the 6'2", 307-pound Purdue offensive lineman from Winnipeg, got his start playing football at St. Paul's High School. Vaquero was all smiles, reflecting on the big moment.
As an 18-year-old and playing left tackle, I wouldn't believe I was here right now for sure. A lot of thanks goes out to everyone who's been part of my journey, coaches, Coach Dovey, Coach Daynard, Recruit Ready, so I'm really grateful.
Vaquero spent his first 3 collegiate campaigns here at the U of M, joining the Bison's starting lineup as an 18-year-old freshman before transferring to Purdue. The Canadian Football League preseason begins Monday, May the 18th. In other draft news, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers selected a total of 9 players, 4 offensive players, 4 defensive, and a kicker. Well, spring is here. It's slowly getting warmer outside, and people are starting to spend more time outside as well. And there are reports that tick season is already here. Ticks may be small, but some ticks can transmit serious infections like Lyme disease, which can really make you sick. And joining us now is U of M's acting department head of entomology, Catherine Rochon. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining.
Quick correction, though.
Okay, what is it?
I am no longer acting department head.
Oh, does that mean you got promoted?
No, that just means somebody else is doing the job.
Okay, well, thank you for taking some time out and joining us today. Now, it's tick season. We're here. Tell us about the different ticks and why one is more dangerous than another.
Well, we are blessed in Manitoba with multiple species of ticks, but there are 2 that are more likely to bite us and our pets. And that's the American dog tick that people here in Manitoba know as the wood tick. Mm-hmm. It's very common, and there's lots of them. And then there's the black-legged tick that people also call the deer tick sometimes. And that one is also fairly widespread, just there's not as many. And they are the ones that are able to transmit certain pathogens, like the bacteria that causes Lyme disease or anaplasmosis. There's viruses too. So they are a little bit more of a public health issue than the more common wood tick.
Can you tell the difference between the 2?
You can tell the difference. If I describe them, like to me, it's very obvious. Your wood tick is a little bit larger and it's sort of a reddish brown, and the males have silvery lines on their back that look like a little bit like they have suspenders, and then the female have half their body that's also sort of whitish or silvery, and it looks like a little bit of a necklace, I guess. Where your black-legged ticks are a little bit smaller, so about the size of a sesame seed. And the females are a bit more of an orangey red on the lower half of their body, and on the top they have sort of a dark brown, almost black half top of their body. Okay. And then the males are just black. They're like black sesame seeds. But you can go on, there's online resources that can compare the 2 pictures. One of them is etick.ca. You can compare.
Okay, so you go outside, you're walking in the outdoors. Where do you typically find ticks? Where do you catch them?
You find ticks pretty much anywhere where there's maybe a little bit longer grass and a transition in the different types of vegetation. So that could easily be a backyard in Winnipeg. You can get ticks here as well, but mostly you'll have parks. Even when they're maintained and the grass is mowed, you can still find ticks there. And then parks that are more natural, trails, things like that, where you have longer vegetation. Sometimes if you have trees that keep a little bit of the moisture, give shade, which is a good thing. You want that in a city and in a park. But ticks also like areas that are a little bit more humid. So really anywhere. But that transition, so the edge of the trail or that middle part of the trail, if there's two walking paths like side by side, ticks like that a lot.
Okay, so let's say you find a tick that's embedded in your skin. It looks a lot like a black-legged tick. How do you remove it safely?
Okay, so you can remove a tick safely by grabbing it as close to the skin as possible, ideally with some fine-nosed tweezers, and then you just take hold of it, and then you pull straight up.
Okay.
You can upload a picture of the tick to etick.ca, and some people, real people, not AI, will help you identify it in case you're not sure if it's black-legged ticks, if it's a black-legged tick or a wood tick.
Okay, well, and of course, another warning sign that you might be in trouble is if you see a bullseye ring around that bite, to go to your doctor as soon as possible. Catherine, thank you so much for your help today.
You're welcome.
0 degrees, pockets of sunshine. You can see them out there with winds out of the north-northwest, 19 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity at 79%. I gotta say, I've got a pretty good job. I know some of the mornings I come in here and I have to tell you it's snowing like it was this morning, but then we watch video like what we just saw, and it's somebody's job to let little ticks run around on your hands so that we can videotape them. And suddenly, I'd much rather tell you we have a little bit of light snow. And I'm happy to say that that snow has tapered off now. There it was first thing this morning, but it's coming to an end, and you just saw those pockets of sunshine, which we'll hopefully see more of throughout the day, but overall, mainly cloudy conditions today and tomorrow, with these below seasonal temperatures expected for the next couple of days, and then good riddance to April. You've been a crummy one right along with March. May is looking so much better, kicking it off with almost seasonal temperatures. 16 degrees is normal. We should get up to 14 by the end of the week. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with your Morning Winnipeg.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Well, Terry, us parents know this. Siblings can be friends or foes, and these two are double trouble.
Off for 24 hours.
Okay.
Okay, Maisie?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh my goodness. Jacob and Maisie are quite proud of the art on their faces. When their mom reminds them that the markers won't wash off for 24 hours, they seem pretty nonchalant about it. It's not until the very end when Jacob realizes that 24 hours is a full day.
Yeah, right? When you have no concept of time. Yeah, sure. 24 hours.
His eyebrows look pretty shocked by that. And Buffalo Sabres fans stepped in after a microphone malfunction during O Canada before last night's playoff game.
Oh, Canada, our home and native, hatred, love.
The fans didn't miss a beat once they saw what was happening. Despite the fact the game was between Buffalo and Boston, the Sabres always have O Canada before home games because of the number of Canadian Sabres fans. Buffalo is about 8 kilometers from the Canadian border. I appreciate that so much. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.